welcome everybody. We are live. Let me just turn this down so it doesn't feed back. Alrighty. So, as the title suggests, I think the title suggests we're back in lockdown here, which is unreal. Just such great fun. Love it. So that means there's going to be more guitar practice going on than normal. So, yeah. Totally sucks, but welcome everybody. Let me just pop the chat out here. Let us know where you're from. Let me just check this out. Looks like the stream's good. If there's any issues, just let us know. It should be all good. I'm just going to reduce this down a little bit to 5.5 meg. We should be all right. All right. We'll do a little playing, take a few questions, hang out and see what's going on. So I hope everyone's doing well. Let us know where you're from. And apologies for this camera. Man, my OCD's kicking in. It is kicked in. I don't really have it, but I just want to make the background a little more straight. There we go. That's a bit better. All right, we should be in business. Cool, welcome everybody. Get that out of the way. We've got Yan, how you doing? Pork Chop. Thanks Pork Chop, hope you're doing well mate. Yeah, the border closures here. It's the first time I think ever that we can't get to Sydney and back. We got Krenner. Tony, welcome mate. From the UK, awesome stuff. Just watching that on the news here. Yeah, it sucks. Can't believe it. You know, I don't think a lot of people are going to put up with it for two. If this happens again, I can seriously see something finally, people losing patience with it because it just it doesn't affect enough people. I know that's a really weird way of looking at it, but it's just true. So it could potentially, I guess, but. Yeah, it seems like the consensus online is that people are a bit over the people in charge. At least that's what the vibe I'm getting anyway. But it's all good. You know, I work from home, so I got stuff to do. And I can get out and film and do my stuff out of the house anyway and do my work. So I'll be right. Just joined the gym this week, got one session in. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's just get back to it, man, as soon as you can. Well done. One session's better than none. You know, I went 4 times and then it was closed again. So, yeah, it totally sucks. Just as I was getting used to it again, I lost 3 kilos. I was eating better. I just got asked, sorry, I lost the question. Andy says, what strings and brand am I running on my tallies? So I'm using just Diodarios 10 to 46s. I use them on all of my guitars now. I used to use 11s to 48s, but I gave the box to Dr. Rick. I'm not that into the heavier strings anymore. I think also I get pains in here after a while with the heavier strings now. I never used to get that when I was younger, but I just get sore forearms from really heavy strings. So I stay away from the really heavy strings these days. Well, 11s isn't that heavy, but I don't see there's not enough of an advantage to 11s other than a feel thing, which I actually kind of prefer the 10s now. It's weird how it works. Hey, we got Wet Doggy from Manila, welcome. Chicago. Is it a strict lockdown? Oh, no, we can go outside. So I think there's like 4 reasons you can get out. You can get out for, food, exercise, work, or care. I think that's the 4th one. The problem I have with all of this, right, like I don't know how it is in other countries. I don't want to listen to 1 hour and 20 minutes speech by some numbnuts on television. I want just the information to be available on my phone. I wish they'd just text a short thing that says, this is what's happening. This is the information you need to know without the spiel. You know, it's so poorly managed. the further it goes on, the more I just shake my head at what's going on, because I'm like, man, this just could be so much better organized. Like, rather than shutting down the shopping centers completely, which they're not, they're kind of still got them open, why don't you limit the amount of people that can go in to the actual complex instead of per shop? You know, think a little bit more broadly about it. But anyway, it is what it is. It sort of sucks, but hopefully it doesn't happen for a long time after this. Let us know how the tones are. I'm plugged into the Fender Tone Master back there, and I'm using the XLR out straight into my audio thing on my camera. So that's the IR. Now, it was freezing cold in here, so I'm just going to make sure I got the tuning good. I walked into this room earlier today and I was like, breathing steam inside. That's how great this place is. The tuning just goes wild. Oh, it's out by a mile. So yes, hope anyone who's watching from Melbourne is dealing all right with this stuff, man. People are fed up with it. I'm sure they are all over the world. Yeah, Ian, it is a lockdown for COVID. It is, absolutely. We got Neil from, is it Cumbria? Is that how you say that? Northern England. Welcome, mate. Am I still digging the Tone Master now that I've had it a while? Yeah, it's my go-to amp when I want light and loud. It's super cool. I don't use it as much as I would like. And it's funny, I've had other options, at home, like smaller amps that I can plug into. But it's got that power attenuator on the back. So I'm hoping the tones come through okay via the XLR out. Just going to play clean today. Yeah, and what they're saying is, you know, there's a huge, I could give a huge spiel on it. I actually recorded a huge spiel of it in my car for my vlog channel, but I haven't had a minute to edit that yet, but I will have over the next few weeks. Hey, Jamal, welcome, mate. Hey, Stop No Names, how you doing? Do I like ELO? I don't know. I don't know who that is off the top of my head. Love my Bandit. Bandits are great, man. Bandits are really cool amps. Yeah, it just seems like the people that caused the problems with this latest lockdown, you know, it's like the people in charge are blaming everybody. It's like, yeah, let's sack some people. Hey, Metalhead, how are you, mate? Simon says, in Serbia, we lost control over the situation. After lockdown, they opened all the clubs and lied about the real numbers because of the elections, from 20 infected daily to 350. Wow. How's it actually impacting like your infrastructure? Is there any major issues with it? Because, you know, I looked at the numbers for just the common flu. That's done like 9 times more damage than this you know, current wave of stuff. So yeah, look, I'm not educated enough on it to really understand the, you know, the facets of it. But yeah, it's just frustrating, you know, like you kind of feel ripped off. You put time and effort into something and then it just goes, nah, you can't go there for a while, or you can't go do the stuff you enjoy. And it's like people that, you know, especially at the gym, you know, health stuff's great for you. It's good for your immune system. It's good for lots of stuff. And it's way cleaner than going to a supermarket or a mall, like a shopping mall. Doesn't make any sense. I need you to transport guitar knowledge into my brain. Look, if you got any questions, mate, feel free to ask. That's why I'm here. And also to whinge. No. I'll just take some questions. I'll probably be doing live streams pretty much every other night now for a while. Or going back to the jam practice streams that I sort of ditch after. So if you want to come practice and hang out and jam, I'll be doing some more of those. I got a review of this coming up on the weekend. Arguably the best intro tracks I've ever recorded in terms of playing and vibe. So when it goes up, check it out. I know this shape won't be for everybody, but wait till you hear the tones. It's pretty sick. Hey, VS Audio, welcome, mate. I was just talking to one of my friends in Greece, actually. That's good timing. I like how active you guys are on YouTube. You're one of the few pedal companies that are like, they get it. So yeah, very cool. Marshall DSL 40s are great amps. Yeah, totally, absolutely. It's probably my favorite gigging amp, just based on its convenience and power to tone ratio is off the charts. It's really good. So the video I did of this coming up on the weekend, I used the Marshall mic'd, so no IRs or anything for the main part of the demo, and it was great. It's really cool. Been off work so long, up at night, semi-permanent sleep state. Oh wow. Yeah, sorry to hear that. One thing that's sort of confusing me, maybe someone can shed some light on this, right? Like, I thought the contagious period was 2 weeks, but now we're locked down for 6. So I don't really understand how that is accurate, but that's, and then it's stage 3, so I think like the gyms won't open again for it. Not that that's, you know, the worst thing in the world, but it sucks if you really enjoy it, and it's good for your health. So that's not, they're probably not going to open again for, oh God knows, probably another 8 weeks or something like that. My brother runs a gym, so yeah, you know, I feel sorry for, he can't do his thing, you know, his work and all that kind of stuff. It just sucks. Hey, Mike Bradley, how are you, mate? Stereotone's good amps. Some. They're not all good. Just because it's a clone of something doesn't mean it's great. I've had mixed experiences with them. I think some of their Tweed amps are pretty good. I think some of their Dumble amps are okay, but not amazing. I haven't heard one that I loved enough to want to buy. Let's just put it that way. And I'm not saying they're crap, but that's just my experience with them. I haven't played one that I go, oh man, I'd love to get that. I just haven't heard one. So yeah, I probably played 3 or 4. I'd rather just spend my money and buy one that I don't have to either put together or have put together, that I can just plonk on the floor and I know it's going to be good. I just don't take the risk with those sort of amps anymore. Vintage Ale, welcome. So what's it like in the UK for folks over there? Let us know. I know you guys copped it pretty bad. Thought we'd have a chat and see what's shaking around the world. Zach, welcome. If I didn't say hi already, we've got Alexis. Alexis, is that how you say it, from Germany? Guten Tag. That's probably the wrong greeting, but that's all I know. Hey, from Scotland, awesome stuff. Andy Jones, thank you, mate. ToneMaster sounds great. Might trade up from the Katana soon. I just play it clean anyway. How do you think the clean Katana compares to the ToneMaster? Well, look, honestly, man, I'd rather play the ToneMaster any day of the week. The Katana's good for what it is. It's loud and it's got a really big sound for an amp that's quite small. But it's just, yeah, that clean, man. If you like the Fender clean, you can't beat it. And the Katana's clean is actually probably one of its strengths too. So I'm on the fence about what I do with those 2 amps. I've got enough amps. Funnily enough, I went to buy one the other day. I'd sold a whole lot of stuff. I got rid of a few other little amps and a few like pedals and stuff, and I thought, I'm going to go back and I tried it, Fender Blues DeVille. I loved it. It was the best amp I'd ever played, and I thought, I'm going to go back and get it. I went back and some old guy bought it. A spewing, he wouldn't even be able to lift it. Anyway, so yeah, I was sort of on the fence whether or not, I don't know how often I'm going to be using the Katana or the Mustang, but we'll keep hold of them for a while. They will come in handy. I'll try and shoot some live videos before I flip them anyway. Hey, Riff, thank you, man. Hello, Shane. Loving the guitar tone. Keep it bluesy. Thank you. Thanks, mate. I'll tell you what, everybody. Riff Magoos, you've been a Magos, maybe that's how you pronounce it. I keep calling you Magoos, but it's probably not right. Huge supporter of the channel, so thank you, mate. I do appreciate it. And thank you, Andy, as well. Yeah, someone, Petoskey Stone, Torchlight gig on August the 3rd. Very cool. I got to get back there at some point. I'd love to check out that whole area again. One of these days. Maybe in 10 years, once this crap finishes. I posted a clip of, if you want to hear one of the best Strat players of all time, in my opinion anyway, go check my feed on YouTube. The community tab, I posted a Papa Chubby Life is a Beatdown song. It's got that riff. I'm not sure exactly of the chords, but it's like a... He's one of those guys, his lessons are fantastic too. He's got a few lessons about how he approaches his... he can play as fast as you like, he can chicken pick, he can do all that great stuff, but he focuses on his rhythm because it connects more with people. And he's got this really, he used to do a Hendrix tribute show, so he can do all of that fancy Hendrix stuff and he can nail it. He's one of the few guys that I hear that never runs out of ideas. And if you like emotive guitar players, check that song out. It's the solos just off the tab. I actually sent it to Robert Baker and he was like, man, this guy's phenomenal. So yeah, check it out if you get a chance. All right, let me scroll down. Yeah, Seamus, I think I'm starting to agree with you there, mate. I try to not pay too much attention to it, but it feels like we don't have... Yeah, it's a shocking state of affairs. I think it's probably... Most people feel the same, no matter where they live too, I'm tipping. If you just type in World Ometer info, it will give you the white... Oh, okay, thank you, Metalhead, I appreciate that, mate. What do I think of the Fender Pro Junior? They're good fun little amps, a little limiting though. I would probably spend the extra $100 and get a Blues Junior. Just my opinion. Or whatever the difference is, just buy a Blues Junior, much better amp. Or an Artist Tweed Tone 20, depending on where you live. Norm Douglas from Glasgow. Hey, we've got another super chat here, have we? Ryan, thank you, man. Ryan Matum, he says, hey man, love the vids. Any tips for fellow Melburnian to find a band as an intermediate player, and where did you get those sick posters from? So all of these you can get on Google. So if you go to Google Images, just type in your favorite artist and type in poster. Or sometimes, like for ones like Dr. John, I just typed in Dr. John musician and it came up, because there's a Dr. John who's really famous, like an actual medical doctor or some sort of medical guy. So you've just got to sort of search a bit. But yeah, all of these you can get off Google. They were just artists. Some of them were fan art, like the Muddy Waters one over here, the Antones one. That was, I think, fan art. The T-Bone one and Dr. John, I think, are fan art as well, or something like that anyway. But yeah, you just get them laminated at any office supply shop. I get them done at Office Works. Cost me about $3 or $2 or $2 or $3 to get them printed and matte laminated. Any tips to find a band? So once stuff opens back up, just start going to the jams. Go to the open mic nights. I think that's the easiest way to meet people and play and find who you like in terms of playing. And there's no commitment there either to make it work. So there might be some like-minded individuals there. That's how I met everybody that I know that I've played with over the years was from jams, and some of them are like great players. What's my thoughts on Heritage? And thank you, Ryan, again, mate. I appreciate it. Thanks. Lastly, there are probably some forums for people looking for bands and that, but go to open mic nights, go to jams, and word of mouth. Just ask people who are you in a band? Do you ever need someone to sit in? Or say, hey, if you've got a gig and you need a rhythm guitarist, let me sit in. That's what I did a lot of as well, like saying, hey, can I play? Like, I don't care if I get a solo or not, just let me work out what the hell's going on. So, yeah, a bit of that too is always good. Hey, Ben, you'll love Papa Chubby, mate. He's a monster. He's maybe not out of the box enough for you, but he's one of the few masters of never running dry. I reckon, there's times where I've seen nearly all the famous guitar players get stuck and they're like, oh, what do I do? Or they're, Papa Chubby's one of those guys, man. He just plays. He's a monster. Absolute monster. What are my thoughts on Heritage guitars? Fantastic. Yeah, I think they're really good. The hard part about those guitars is finding them a lot of the time, depending on where you live, of course, but they're a hard guitar to find and to find in any real quantity. So I only have ever seen like 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 there, 1 or 2 at another shop that's nowhere near the other 2. So yeah, they're pretty tough to find, at least in Australia. I do see them when I'm overseas a bit, but not often either. I don't think they're really any better than Gibson. They're just an alternative to that. So yeah, take your pick. If you can live with the headstock and you like the shape, they're a bit thinner, a little bit lighter sometimes as well, then go for it. I think they're solid instruments. Like they're a quality guitar. The quality control's great. They're just a little bit different. So if you're thinking you'll buy one, it'll be exactly like your favorite Gibson. It'll be a little bit different, but not in a bad way. Just different. So yeah, I always say try playing them before you buy them if you can. Italia looks the part and sounds incredible. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Like the video of this is coming up on the weekend. I'm a big fan of these guitars. It's the shape, I know already, I say this in the video a few times, I know not everyone will like the design of it, being that it's like a modern Tele style guitar, but far out, man. Play one of these things, they're really good. So yeah, tone-wise, feel, it's pretty sweet. Hey Andre, welcome man. I love my Heritage guitar. Well, there you go. My 5th favourite left-handed guitarist. Yeah, there you go. Who's a good Aussie blues player that America hasn't heard of? Look up Ray Beadle. Like Beetle with a D in it. Ray Beadle. He's a monster. He's played in the States. He used to play at B.B. King's House of Blues, but he's played with Chris Kane and a whole lot of guys, but he's a monster. He's probably the best guitar player I've heard in person. Let's in Australia at least anyway. Yeah, he's a half New Zealander, half something else. Maybe half Aussie, maybe half, I don't know. I don't know what his other half is, but he's great, so check him out. All right, we're getting spammed here. I just got my first metal guitar with EMGs. 81 and 85 pickups, but it sounds no good. Whatever I do I need a different amp? Try dialing in the amp differently. I mean, EMGs they're a hot output. If you're looking for a vintage tone, you're probably not going to find it. You could try replacing the pickups. I would talk to someone who's maybe in a music shop locally and show them, or give the guitar to someone else to play and say, here, see if you can get this to sound good. Because sometimes it's all about the settings or the way you're approaching the guitar. It's hard to really know. Why did I prefer the 50s over the 60s one? A couple of shallow reasons. One, I love the look of it. it just looks great. I really dig the color of this, the maple fretboard. Yeah, I really love it. The soft V-neck was just super comfortable, and the tone was pretty comparable actually. The 60s one was really nice, but the 50s one just, like, I smiled when I played it. I was like, yeah, this is it. The neck felt better to me on this one than the 60s one for what I particularly go for. The 60s one's really nice, but I love the look and I love the tone. It was a combination of those two things. Yeah, the neck was great. Yeah, it's beautiful. Lincoln says he's gassing for a Les Paul with P90s. You might have something to do with that. Well, if it makes you feel any better, mate, I got another, probably next, excuse me, sorry, I just had some food and drink before. I got another Les Paul video coming up with P90s. It was on loan, so I didn't buy it. Oh, there we go. Southpaw 335 says, absolutely, I saw Ray Beadle with Chris Kane here in Sydney last year. It was an awesome gig. Yeah, well, Ray was the guy that got me onto Chris. I'd heard of him prior to that. Like when I was in San Fran, a mate of mine kept saying, oh, have you seen Chris Kane? I'm like, I don't know who that is. Nah. And I just sort of brushed it off. And then Ray was like, oh yeah, I've learned a lot from that guy. Go check him out. If you like my playing, you'll love his playing. And then I heard him, I was like, so Ray does a lot of Chris Kane material too. And as well as a lot of other stuff. But yeah, you can definitely hear his influence there. Yeah, Tony says EMGs are definitely metal pickups. Usually they are. You know, there's only one blues guy who isn't on my wall anymore because the poster wasn't very good. But Michael Burks, the man, the Iron Man, he used EMGs in his Strat and they sounded mighty. So you can dial them in, but you probably have to, they're probably pretty scooped. The sound, it might not be for you. Get a set of PAFs and you'll be laughing. A Laney Club 10's loud enough to gig with? Probably not, no. I don't think any 10 watt amp would be loud enough. At least not for the gigs that I do. Maybe 15 and 20 watt would be the lowest you would want to go. I always find like Blues Juniors and Princeton's sometimes, or most of the time, aren't loud enough for where I play. Oh yeah, Ben, you got a Sir recently, mate. That's beautiful. How's that going? Yeah, the 50s Strat, man. This is going to be the keeper. People mocked me. They said, "Oh, you won't want to keep that." You know. Yeah, this is it. Rick played a custom shop one the day before a couple of days ago. Whenever we where did I put the tuner? It's still in the headstock. Rick played a couple of custom shop Strats and got no vibe out of him. I handed him a right-handed one of these, and he's like, "Yeah, now I know why you got it." He goes, "It's got way more mojo." Yeah, I could see myself playing Strats a bit more once I get out there and start playing again. But I really feel kind of lucky and a little bit spoilt now. The collection's been sort of filtered, and over the years just finding certain things that I go, that'll be a long-term guitar, like that Les Paul with P90s. Just a beautiful guitar as well. So the Flying V, man, it was a good year last year. And then I got that Tally right after Boxing Day or whatever, the 50s one that I damaged. Oh, listen to that. Oh, it still smells good. It's got that new smell. Discuss reverb versus dry. I avoid reverb. It's just personal choice, man. Like, you know, I don't think anyone would scoff at Stevie Ray's playing because he's got a bit of reverb, or Albert King, or, you know, it doesn't matter. You just play whatever you like. It depends on the clean tone. Like some clean tones are more responsive and you get like a great sustain out of it. And other times you play amps and there's nothing coming back. So it depends on the feel of the amp. And that's why I really loved about the Fender Blues DeVille 410s, was it felt like the clean channel was like a lead tone. You could hit a note and it would just go. So you don't need as much reverb on there. So it just really depends on your own style and sound. And I find nothing almost worse for me personally than listening to a really dry guitar amp clean. I hate it. It's not my sound at all. Like it's usually clacky and look, it depends on the player, but usually when I hear a really dry amp, it's not very pleasant. I much prefer reverb. So it's just a personal taste thing. Have you ever tried the Yamaha, what was it, the THR 100? Is that what it's called? Was the chat just scrolled. I can't always remember the name of those amps. I haven't tried the 100, no. I've seen one before though. Really enjoyed the recent Explorer review. I don't see why there aren't seen in more blues circles. I thought they were great. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, Jamal actually sent me a link of Clapton playing an Explorer. He's doing... All right, sorry about that. Is it audio back? Yeah, I just dropped my wireless pack. Turned off. Jamal sent me a clip of Clapton playing, a blues like, one of those kind of blues on an Explorer. I was like, what? I'd never seen him play one before, so that was cool. Jimmy Vaughan played dry. Yeah, Jimmy Vaughan does. I don't mind some of his tones. I think he's a super cool guy, but he's definitely not one of my guys I'd go to for like tone shaping. I like what he does with his sound, but some of his tones are pretty good. But PRS fan, well, I got an SE and I really love that. I've also got a review of one of the newest Indonesian-made ones coming up. They're a different guitar to mine, so it should be an interesting sort of look at what should be pretty much the same, but it is definitely different. Yeah, ZZ Top played Explorers. Yeah, he did. I mentioned at the end of that video, 3 different guys. You've got James Hetfield, you've got Billy Gibbons, and The Edge. All playing the same guitar, completely different to each other. So, and you can throw Clapton in there too with this clip. So, yeah, lots of people play him. It's just a different sort of feel and size and all that. It's just strange. If I got an Explorer, I don't think I would want a case. Well, that's the problem with them. There's a few problems. The case is so big that you laugh when you see it. You could fit in there almost if it was hollow. Like it comes up to here. It just filled the entire frame of the camera. It was ridiculous. Like it's just, what do you do with that? So there's that. The other problem is you can't put it on a stand because there's the stupid, angle of it. I say stupid, but the impractical angle of the bottom of it. You can't lean it up against your amp. You'd have to have a stand with you at a gig that has a headrest like the other one that's normally here, but oh yeah, it's behind the camera. You need one of those. Otherwise, you can't rest it anywhere. So it's a bit of a deal breaker for me, that. I don't know. But I tell you what, it sounded great and I really enjoyed playing it, but I wouldn't take one over my V just because of the case. Even though the V case is tall, it's like half the width. Clappy used an Explorer in the 70s. Yeah, I think that was a 70s clip. It may have been really early 80s, but I'm not too sure. It might have been 70s. You should do a review on internet guitar lessons. Well, that's maybe a great idea. I haven't actually, used any that I've paid for. I've always used, well, other than videos back in the day, but I haven't actually, I just go through the freebies usually when I learn stuff. Or I break down videos at half speed. I've been doing a bit of that lately, and you know, that works. I got my heater cranked now, and there we go, we're back in tune. Hey Jeff, thank you mate, I appreciate that, far out. $5, thanks man. Thanks for the support. Ben, take it easy man. Make sure you fit your home workouts in. Yeah, I will. I got my weights out in the lounge. I got a very small amount, but it's better than nothing. So I'm going to make an effort to keep it going while the gyms are shut for another 8 weeks. Sucks. All right, take it easy, man. Good to see you the other day too. Do I actually like the Katana? Look, it's great for the right person. I don't think it's a long-term amplifier for me. I think they're fun, they sound great. I'm just over digital anything's pretty much. Anything that really requires me to have to get a USB cable out. Yeah, I'm not really enjoying that anymore. The Mustang's easier because you can do everything from the top of the amp. But in a sense, it's also harder because you've got to know more about it. But yeah, I kind of like it for its overall functionality, but it's not something that I would use for gigs. I'm going to take it out and play it live. I say that now, but maybe I'll be blown away when I get it up to proper volume because it does sound good. So Jeff, thank you. Thanks again, mate. I appreciate that. Actually, the chat just scrolled big time. There's a massive AKG spring reverb unit on reverb. 4,500 pounds. Or is that euros? Euros. Far out. But mate, it's a bargain. Get it. Don't do it. Put it in your Dumble, man. Come on. Tim Pierce had to say his new PRS hollow body sounds like a 335. Now I want one. Okay, there you go. It'd be more playable than a 335, I'm tipping as well. Just the physical size of it, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool. Are they 24 frets or 22? Never heard of an Epiphone custom shop? I don't know what that was in relation to, man. Sorry. Yeah, all those digital modeling amps, you know, they've got their audience. There's always going to be those people that go, oh, it's not a valve amp. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be aimed at a different audience. I think people forget, like, you know, not every video that comes out is for them. It's like or every product that's, you know, that comes out is for them, or whichever way you want to say it. Of course, it's not a valve amp. If it was a valve amp, it would be a valve amp. But yeah, Roland / Boss aren't really. That's not their thing. They've been making solid state amps for, I don't know, 50 years or something. So. Hey, Landon, welcome, man. He says, I'm going with the Fender Custom Shop 54 Strat pickups. My latest build, similar to the 59s. Less bass in the bridge pickup. Okay, cool. Yeah, just watch, like I said, man, watch some of those 50s. The Fat 50 pickups are some of the worst I've ever played. So as long as they're not ear spiking like that, you'll be good. Way to Melburnians. Well, maybe way to go? Is that what it's supposed to say? We look like a joke. Yeah, it sucks. It does suck. I was going to have a jam here this weekend too with a few of the guys. I'm spewing. Would have been a lot of fun. We're going to stream it out live, and I was going to try and organize it. It looks like it's not going to happen now. Yeah, neck and middle on this is pretty good. Usually I find that combination Not enough note like tops, but it sounds pretty good. It's funny when you write a song, you can't even remember how it goes properly. John Mayer. Yeah, look, I loved his trio stuff. That album was so good, and Continuum was great, and then the level of interest started to wane after that. He had a couple of good like J.J. Cale sort of style albums, which I liked, but yeah, the pop stuff, man, I don't get it. He's a great guitar player, play guitar. He's rich enough now that he doesn't have to keep making those sort of pop albums. But anyway, it is what it is. Maybe he loves it. Hey, Metalhead, thank you, man. Robert Baker has 80% off 8 courses bundle until Sunday. Thanks for flogging that, mate. I appreciate it. I'm going to give it a go. It was 180 bucks, now 35. Well, Robert's one of the masters on YouTube, mate. He really is. He's a fantastic player. He's a lovely guy. You know, there's probably 2 people I'd recommend. As I've been recommending them for years. Robert and Texas Blues Alley. Both, I already know, make great lessons. So, depending on your style and what you want to play, Robert's in a league of his own. It's really great. So thank you again, mate. I appreciate that. So there you go. I know Kafir does lessons as well. He does like online stuff, but I don't know what they're like. He never does that on his YouTube. It's always like click here, and I never have checked it out. But yeah, he's another guy that's a freak. He's got like the recall of the gods. He can play anything. I ran the new X Cerberus in front of my Fender Towmaster Twin on the or Deluxe, depending on the gig. Yeah, you know, those Cerberus pedals are awesome. You know, there's a time there I used it for maybe 6 or 7 videos in a row. It was great. I've still got it. I'm not getting rid of that. Hey, Lefty Mike says, Shane, my wife is in love with JJ Gray. Thanks for the backing track. JJ Gray is the man. What a dude. Hey, no worries. No, I'm glad you like it. I've been working on a few of their songs. Yeah, it's just, those sort of chord progressions are just so fun to play over because you can mix your major and minor stuff till the cows come home. It's really cool. That's the sort of stuff that, you know, great, you know, it's like an expressive sort of chord progression, and it's really simple. Oh man, I had some. I need a drink. Hang on. I had some muesli bars before, little chocolate things. I think I got a piece of it caught in my throat. Just bear with me one sec. I'm on wireless. It should hopefully work. No better drink to have at, what time is it? Like 10 o'clock or whatever it is. Then I get old pep. Excuse me, hang on a sec. It's the Corona. No, it's not. Hang on. All right, there we go. It's better. Sorry about that. We need a best 335 alternatives video. I'm shopping now. You know what? I'll try and get one done. I've been wanting to do that and an SG one for a while. Thing is, though, I'm not a huge SG fan, so I kind of kept bumping that one back. 335, that'll be the next one. I'll shoot it this week. No. I'll shoot it. I'll probably shoot it Monday. I got a few other videos I got to finish up on the other channel as well, and then I'll get onto it. So it'll be up, be up next week. Have I checked out the Charvel old yellow guitar? I got mine 3 weeks ago, and I've been loving it ever since. Beautiful guitar in an unorthodox way. You know what? I don't know that one. I'll have to look it up. I like different stuff, you know. I'm starting to change. I used to just like Strats and 335s and all that kind of stuff, but now I play anything that's good. I really don't care. Guitar on the chair's making you nervous. Yeah, it's I've taken that power supply and put it away because after that last incident, that'll hopefully never happen again. Still watching Dave Simpson? Yeah, I love his channel. You know, I was on there on a couple of his live streams recently too. Yeah, so I don't watch all of his videos. I find like some of them are like those 1.5 hour Q&As are a bit too much for me, but I definitely like his stuff. So yeah, I don't always comment on videos that I watch, but I like his stuff. Dylan says Pepsi Max. I heard rumors that it cures the virus. It does. I feel so much better already. This has still got that tops on the neck pickup. It's not quite as bright as the Strat. I love it. Do I have any recommendations for another drive pedal that I can combine with the new Cerberus? I always say Cerebus. Yeah, I find this is the one complaint my friend had about it, that he told me, goes, the regular overdrive's not drivey enough, and he's right. I would just get something like a tube screamer. Just chuck that in there. That'll be anything with a bit more gain would be great. And you've got that volume boost you can use. Yeah, because I feel the same way. The overdrive's the one letdown. I wish you could somehow connect it to the computer and install some sort of higher gain overdrive. It doesn't have enough gain. I think you're absolutely right. Ever played a Bugera V22? I have. They're pretty good. The problem with them is, much like the V5, which I had, is a lot of the time they rattle. You'll get it, you'll turn it on, and it will rattle, because they use cheap valves, which you often need to replace to get rid of that. We've got Pete Kelly from Adelaide. Welcome, mate. Fat says a new Vola. It is. Video of this is coming up this weekend. I encourage you to check it out, because some of the tones are sick when you add a bit of drive. This bridge pickup has a passive boost switch. It's not one that needs a battery or anything. And it's unreal. It is so cool. I thought it was a split coil thing, but it isn't. It's a boost. Rick says, bit of a bugger for you guys. The main thing is to say safe. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Thanks, Rick. Yeah, you too, mate. I hope things are well. I'm not sure what part of the world you're from, mate. Sorry if I missed it, but yeah. All the best to you too. I have an Ibanez Arcor AS73L, which is a great 335 alternative for Chinese built guitar. Man, Ibanez makes some great stuff. Absolutely. And I can already I've got 5 easy suggestions for people, and that'll be one that I'll look into as well. I don't know if I've played that one from memory, but I sometimes have to just go by right-handed guitars I've seen too, because they don't always make a lefty. But what's your other YouTube channel? I found it once but forgot. So I have a tech channel that I'm working on very infrequently. That's going to change coming up because it trended for a little, not trended, but it did really well for a while. I was getting like 150 subs a day, 100 subs or something. But it's not guitar related at all. So yeah, it's cameras, audio equipment, as in microphones, podcasting, setup guides, all the other stuff I'm into. So yeah, it has anytime I get asked guitar questions on those videos, I don't answer them because I'm like, wrong channel, and then put a smiley face. So yeah, it's a bit of a nerd channel. Live streaming, setup guides, all that kind of stuff. I don't like just getting subs for the sake of it either. I'd rather not just have people that subscribe and don't watch anything. So I don't really cross promote anything with it. I tried doing that and I was like, no, that's not a good move. So I just keep it separate. I mean, this is still the main channel. Obviously, I'm lucky to upload 3 videos a month on the other one, but sometimes a lot of stuff turns up at once, and I get like 1 or 2 videos a week for about a month, and that's what will probably happen. Actually, one video went live just before, so it'll be up. There's a GoPro Hero 8 media mod. I've got a GoPro. You can buy this little case that goes in, and then you can attach like a mic like this to it, and all that kind of stuff. I shoot it where I shoot the podcast videos. I was hoping Agile would release some more 335s, but Rondo said no plans. Okay. Father No says that tally sounds great. Thanks, mate. This both pickup combination is like, it's got the stringiness to it. I love it. Scroll down. Build a pedal, DIY fuzz face. Yeah, I've built pedals before on the channel. I've done that. It's a long and painful process for your neck. You're always like looking down like this. I hate the process of doing that. But it's fun. It's definitely fun to build pedals. I probably made 3 or 4. Not all of them I did videos of, but I think I did at least 2 videos. I did an overdrive that I made and a clean boost. And they worked fine. I've still got them. Coco Tube Screamer Clone is a great pedal. Yeah, no, I mean, if they get the circuit right, I'm sure it'd be great. The pedal I'm really digging for the price is that Alma Combo, which has changed names now to, what is it, the Al Combo? Is that what they called it or something? Because of, I think they were going to get sued because they used the name of the pub or the music venue that's now something completely different, but yeah, that's a great value overdrive, like $80, $70. Thanks, Metalhead. Take it easy, man. I appreciate your support. Thank you. Thanks for joining in. Time is at 10:37. Nah, don't worry about posting the link to the tech channel, man. Just we'll let it grow. If you look up podcast setup, the best cheap podcast setup, you'll find it. That's usually one of the first results. Speaking of microphones, the owner of Melbourne's Rode Microphones bought the Kurt Cobain guitar recently. Yeah, I heard about that. He paid like some ridiculous amount of money for it. Yeah, sort of surprised it was kind of worth that much. I guess, yeah, it's relative to what you're into, I guess, but it's more than like, Hendrix guitars or Clapton's Blackie sold for, or what are some of the other big ones? Some old Les Pauls. It's a lot of money. I mean, obviously Kurt, he sort of created like a genre of music in a way, like grunge, pop grunge. What is it? I can't remember the pattern of how it goes in my head. No, damn it, I'll have to hear it. Shane, I'm late to the show. Is that the new volley you have? So this is one called a Vasti. They've been out for a while, I'm pretty sure. It's kind of like look, there is a new one of these too, which has a slightly 1mm thinner neck than the one that I may have. Look, I can't tell the difference. In the hand, this feels exactly like this one, which is supposed to be the fattest neck they made, which they've slightly slimmed down, but this to me feels pretty similar. It may be a hair thinner, but it's so hard to tell. So I'm going to assume it's probably the newer neck, but I can't really feel a difference between them other than it just feels great to play. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Once you get a bit of dirt on the sound and you can sort of, you can really fire up that boost. It's pretty cool. Expus says, picked up a used Classic Vibe Tele the other day. Awesome stuff. 2008. You know anything about the first run of Classic Vibes better than now or more consistent? Supposed to be working from home, but here I am. Welcome, mate. I don't know if they're any different. I haven't played one that's not been made in China. In Australia, it seems like all the Classic Vibes I've seen are still made in China. So I don't know whether or not I think they've moved to Indonesia, but I haven't seen any. So yeah, you'll be pretty much sorted with it. 2008 seems like a pretty early year for one. So I got one around 2010 and it was really good. So I'm sure yours will be great. So very cool. Look, if it plays fine, you'll be laughing. Ah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Let's see if we can turn it into a blues. Fun thing to do to some songs. See if we can turn them into a blues. Be a good challenge. Charlie, yes, yeah, we are. We're back on. Well, Melbourne, Australia is back on lockdown because it sucks. Any advice on upgrading hardware on a Squire Affinity Tele? Look, I'd probably start with the switches and the pots. So replace the pots if you need to. Look, if they work, you don't have to do it. But I always find like the pots, the biggest problem I have with those guitars is the tuners. Get rid of them. Put on a good set of tuners. They don't have to be expensive ones. I'd start there. I wouldn't really spend too much money upgrading it unless, like, if you're going to spend $300-400 on upgrades or even $200, sell it and get a classic vibe. I would do that. I mean, you're going to get a much better guitar that you don't need to upgrade. So, yeah, the affinities are alright. I don't like spending too much money on a guitar to upgrade it if it's not worth much, because you end up, I've done it before. I did exactly the same thing. I had a Gold Series Squire, upgraded the pickups, tried to sell it, you know, it wasn't really, or I traded it in, and it's sort of a bit of a, you're kind of blowing your money. So, yeah, just upgrade what you need to. If the pickups should be okay, but the tuners on those guitars suck. So, yeah, definitely change that. If yours aren't good, like, don't just change them just because. But, yeah, look, the pickups will make the biggest difference to the sound. There's no questions about it. But you gotta only, I don't upgrade stuff for the sake of it. That's the worst thing to do. Just do it if you need to. Question, have you ever had issues with the nut being too big and square that it hurts your hand while playing near the headstock? Only once I had it repaired, and the idiot that did it didn't even round it off on the edges or anything. It was just a square, sharp brick. So, yeah, that's the only time that it's been in the way. Sometimes what can happen is the angle of the headstock can get in the way, and it feels like you're always bumping, like your hand doesn't have enough room to kind of slide back. And if that's the case, sometimes you're always bumping into the nut here. So it doesn't happen that often. It happened once on one like little weird little guitar I played years ago, where I was like, oh man, the nut keeps sort of like, I need to have it further back. It was too in the way. So it just depends on the design. Usually with most guitars, I haven't really felt like that at all. With any normal off-the-shelf guitar, you shouldn't encounter that at all. It's easy to fix though. Like, you can either bring it down yourself or just have it replaced if you don't know what you're doing. Probably $30, you know, it wouldn't cost you much to get one and then have it installed. Tuners on the Mexican Strat, those things are a bit average. I think they're okay, but over time they might not last as long. I felt exactly the same way about the Made in Mexico Strat switch I had. Eventually it was so loose that, you know, I could blow on it and it would almost flick spots. So yeah, I think that's where they cut their corners. You know, there's slight differences in the tuners. A lot of people say the only difference between an American one is, you know, 20 miles or whatever. But it's not the case. There are some differences, especially with the pots. And the Player Series, especially, where they sort of changed they went for cheaper potentiometers. You know, long term, they're probably not going to last as long. But that's a $5 part, right? So, yeah, you can easily upgrade them yourself. Do I set up my own guitars? Almost all of the time. I'm lucky. I don't buy guitars anymore, or I've been lucky enough when I've been interested in a guitar to not have much wrong with it. The only guitar I've had set up was that. I had a couple of strings changed when I had the springs in the back added and tightened, so the tremolo arm didn't move when I did double stops. But I have this weird thing where if I buy a guitar and it needs something done, I'd rather give it to the guy in the shop to help. But once it's here, and if I need to adjust something, then I'm good to go. I just don't like doing it myself and then making it worse and then going, oh, what have I done? So I'm usually like, yeah, leave it to someone who knows what they're really doing for the first out of the shop experience thing, and then I'm happy to tweak with it. But yeah, that's sort of how I go about it. The only sort of things I won't do anymore is I hate doing humbucker pickups in the Les Paul. It's just a pain in the ass. I hate trying to get inside into the where the pots are and trying to get the solder in. It's just a pain in the ass for me. I hate it. 335s I won't touch either because they're a nightmare. They're an absolute nightmare. Tallies I've changed pickups in. Strats I've changed pickups in. And all the other guitars, all I needed to do with like the Gibson ones is just half a turn on the bridge just to bring it up or down. That's it. I've been pretty fortunate with the last lot of guitars. Hey, Jamal's back. He says, when I restrung the Les Paul Tribute for my brother, I realized that I love the V more than the Les Paul. I think I'll be fine without the Les Paul. Well, there you go. The V's are pretty cool, mate. I reckon that suits you too. That's super cool. Yeah, they got a good sound, you know. They're a real sort of balanced humbucker. They're not overly fat, but you got the chime. It's got all the good tones. Rick says he's got a Lefty Squire contemporary Tally. Very cool. All I did was upgrade the tuners to locking tuners from the Guitar Fetish, and it works great. Yeah, they're really really solid instruments. Those things, they're good. Yeah, I always feel like the classic vibes, the contemporary series ones are good. And then, you know, if you need to change the tuners or whatever, then do it. But if you're going to spend, say, this is my theory, if you're going to spend $350 on a guitar 400, and then you're going to put $200 worth of pickups in, but the better guitar's the same price as doing all of that, yeah, just get the good guitar. But yeah, no, I totally agree. For just changing the tuners will make the world of difference. That's definitely a good upgrade for Squires. Am I familiar with Hughes and Kettner Grand Meister Deluxe 40 amp? I played was it a 20? It was pretty good. Was it a Grandmaster? I want to say it was maybe called a Tube Meister or a Tweak Master or something. I can't remember what it was called. Maybe that was what it was. I can't remember. I'm not overly... Oh, hang on. Hughes and Kettner. No, I'm thinking of a different brand. Sorry. Okay, so no. Yeah, Hughes and Kettner amps I never really got into. I got them confused with... Hang on, I'm getting my brands confused. It's one of those brands that as soon as I see the logo, I'll go, oh, it's that one. I'm getting Hughes and Kettner. All right, so I'm totally on the wrong path. I'm thinking of... There used to be another brand of amp that was... it used to be everywhere, and I couldn't stand it, and this wasn't it. I always get them confused. Anyway, so I've played a few of their amps, and they're pretty cool. They're surprisingly good. I always thought they were aimed at metal players, which they can definitely do that. But yeah, I played one of their 20-watt ones a few years back, and I really liked it. It does a good clean, and it has a pretty decent drive channel. Yeah, pretty versatile amps overall. They're pretty good. Oh wow, chat just scrolled a million miles here. Let's I'm torn between the Les Paul Tribute Studio and the Classic. Yeah, you kind of got to play them and decide, man. I would probably... The studios aren't bad. Just yeah, it really depends on the models, man, and what your budget is as well. Because I'm tipping the Classic's going to be quite a bit more, right? That's why I got the Special. It was sort of like right in the middle. It was like a quality instrument. The studios can sometimes be a little bit bare bones. Sometimes they need a bit of work. Well, at least the 2 or 3 that I've owned did. I sold one because it just... Yeah, one of them was great. I should have kept one of the gold tops I had with the P90s. That was a great guitar, but the other ones are a bit rough. Whereas the studio one that I've got, or the... What's it called? The Les Paul... yeah, with the P90s. That one's sort of like right in the middle. Kind of like quality and all that kind of stuff. And then you get into Classic, which I think has some of the best pickups as well. So... Yeah, if it's mostly like a financial decision, think of it long term. Like, are you going to buy the cheaper one and go, oh yeah, I'm going to be happy with this, but I actually still want the other one? And then you'll end up buying the other one anyway, and then you've spent like way more money. So think about it a little bit more like that. That's sort of how I try to approach stuff now. A bit more long term than just, look, I buy stuff for the channel and then I flip it. But all the stuff I'm keeping to play, I know it's kind of like a long term thing. Like that Strat, that'll be around for as long as I'm playing. So get the one that you really want. Godin are great. Yeah, we don't see too many lefties of those around. But yeah, they're very cool. Trying to think of what amp I was thinking of before. There's not Hughes and Kettner. There's another one that they used to have like a lot of brown Tolex. It was like an American style name to, yeah, and they were always like ultra bright. I hated the top end on them. I always get them confused with Hughes and Kettner. Or when I hear Hughes and Kettner, I'm thinking of, what's the name of that brand? No, Cranberg Music here used to sell them for years. I can't remember. How high do I set your strings on the 12th fret? Well, just whatever feels good, man. So, like I said earlier, the initial setup usually gets done, and I just feel it. If it feels like it's buzzing or it's too close to the fretboard, I usually bring it up a little bit, and that's all it is. It's not like a math equation for me. It's more like I can almost look at a guitar and go, okay, this E here is too low just by looking at it. If it's, it's buzzing out or doing anything it shouldn't be doing, it's too low. So that's kind of my starting point. Bring it up, get a feel for it, tweak it just a little bit at a time and see how it goes. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have like a specific height. When Rick sometimes helps me set up stuff, he uses the Robert Cray setup guide as he uses a ruler to get a rough guide on how high things should be, and that's usually what most Strat guys reference, because you don't want Strat strings to be too low. It'll just buzz out too much. So a little bit extra height on any of those kind of guitars. Even the Tallies should be a little bit higher, unless you got a flat fretboard radius, then it's a different story. Trace Elliott, no. You know what? I wonder if Hughes and Kettner used to make some like old brown like amps, maybe about 10 years ago. They made amps that were that color. I don't know if it's the same brand. Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. But thanks for all the suggestions. None of those custom. Yeah, far out. Forgot about them. Egnator. Anyway, it's kind of late here. My brain's probably not onto it as much. Hi Shane, really dig the way you play blues as an element of funk and rhythm, which guitarists influenced you before you developed your own style. Pretty much most of the guys on the wall, except for Eric Gales. So T-Bone was a lot of that, a lot of that classic blues sort of stuff. Yeah, that sort of stuff was T-Bone. Clapton for, that sort of stuff. Yeah, the funk stuff was a lot of listening to Tommy Castro. I also listened to a lot of players, local guys that had a really great sort of groove in their hand. I still feel like I've never really developed that enough, but yeah, Albert King. Everyone thinks he's just blues, but he plays a lot of funk. He's I guess they're blues in a way, but a lot of his tracks are funk. So there's that funk groove, that 16th note thing, and those grooves are really cool. Like James Brown, but Tommy Castro and Albert King were probably like the funkiest guys. Yeah, if you haven't heard of Tommy Castro, check him out. Check out Nasty Habits live. Great, super cool live track. I got a lot of my playing out of that as well. That's sort of like a Tommy Castro. A lot of these guys played guitar like horn players. Da 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 da. That's sort of like. Yeah, Tommy's great at that. He's really like a sax player on guitar. The way that he executes his notes. I wish I could play more staccato like that, but I'm not that good at it. Yeah, I always sort of liked funky tunes, and I think hearing those rhythms was just yeah, I hear a lot of elements of things that are funky in certain rhythmic qualities of even some of the blues stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a strange amalgam of things. But yeah, I think my approach changes depending on the vibe of the song. Like I don't really play the same way over everything. Play if it's just say I'm playing 3 dominant slow blues, there might be a lot of that. But if I've got a minor and then I've got a funk, the approach will completely change. It'll be elements of the sound in there, I guess. But you know, if I'm playing a groove like, I'm going to be playing like. A lot of that sort of stuff, whereas if I'm playing like a you know a bit more sort of traditional stuff, so yeah, minor would lend itself to sort of mix it up depending on the feel of the song, rather than just straight one way or the other. And same with shuffles. Shuffles are probably my favorite because I hear a lot more rhythmic ideas over those over that kind of shuffle groove. It's a lot of fun. That's the true mix of major and minor for me when it comes to playing is the shuffle feel. And even that, some of that is still that T-bone thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird how it all sort of comes together, or needs to improve. Anyway, let's scroll up here. Bad Cat amps. You know, I played a couple of them. I think they're pretty good. I've only played like the 15, I think they're 15 watters, and they're pretty good. I nearly bought one at one point. There was a used one, and it sounded great. But I knew it wasn't going to be loud enough for where I play, so I didn't buy it. It was, I think, just a volume control, and maybe it had a tone control. There wasn't much on it, but it sounded really good. You play some heavier tones, right? If you were building a one pickup Charvel type guitar, what pickup would you choose? In a Charvel, if I was doing that, I'd probably, oh, that's that Fat Philosopher. Sorry, there you go. I was going to say I'd probably just chuck some sort of humbucker in there. Are you playing with a lot of reverb clean? Yeah, it's dead clean. I've got my Fender Tone Master going directly into my camera. I'm hearing it in 5-watt mode really quietly, so hopefully the tone on the video is all right. Yeah, when I was starting to play more live, there were so many people doing the Stevie Ray thing that it kind of put me off. Like, I didn't really want to sound like that. Everyone was wearing the stupid hats and the stupid outfits, trying to, I can't stand when people do that. So I was like, no, I'm not going to try to play like everybody else. And I might have inhibited my growth a little bit, but there's some Stevie Ray stuff I've played over the years. I love his chops, but I never wanted to sort of really replicate like that whole sound, because as soon as you start doing it, all the guitar players go, oh, another one of those guys. Oh, Albert was fantastic, man. Albert's one of the best. We've got Chef from Jakarta. Welcome, mate. I have two Epiphone custom. Oh, the chat just moved. Epiphone customs, one with a P90, and I love them, and I've not been a fan. The new ones are great. Yeah, absolutely, man. There's nothing wrong with the Epiphone guitars. I've owned a number of them over the years. I played pretty much extensively with an Epiphone .335 for a long time. They're a great guitar. I haven't seen too many lefties of those lately, so I don't know if they're still making them or not. Hey, Quicksilver, how you doing? One of Tommy Castro's songs. I don't know how they did this. I've always wanted to ask him. Actually, he's pretty cool on Instagram. I might shoot him a message. He did a shuffle on the. Oh, what's the name of the album? Damn it. Love Don't Care, possibly. Anyway, he took Albert Collins' guitar parts from somewhere else. So obviously they played a shuffle at the same tempo. And it's got Albert Collins on it. Just his guitar parts all over it. I'm like, it sounds like Albert Collins, but Albert Collins died like 20 years ago. So I was thinking, how did you do this? So yeah, I'd love to ask him, because it's great. It's him and Albert trading licks. It's like, far out, man. How cool. And Tommy Castro is a great songwriter too. His band's good. It's a real shame. Like, his YouTube channel's got 2,000 subs or something. It's like, this guy is world class. He's a great vocalist, great songwriter, great onstage presence, phenomenal guitarist, cool guy. Just it's a shame that a guy that good. He did a live stream the other day, and I was loving it. I'm like, this is unreal. There's like 6 of us in there. It's a real shame. Hey, Benjamin, thank you, mate. This is just another friendly reminder that you need more Roy Gallagher in your life. The best player everyone knows, but everyone forgets about. I actually finally listened to some of his stuff. He's got his voice is a product of its time, and I mean that in a really great way. It reminds me of Clapton. It reminds me of like some of the guys out of the Beatles. It reminds me of a lot of those kind of guys. He's got a very familiar vocal. So I've finally been listening to a little bit more about it. I got to tell you, I don't know if I love his guitar tone, but I got to keep in context for its time. It probably was phenomenal. So I'm getting into it. So hang in there. Probably in about another week, I'll be raving about it. But thank you. I'll try and listen to some more tonight. I've been getting into some of his live clips. He did, a whole lot of cool. I can't even remember what I've watched of him right now. But he was doing some sort of pretty popular tunes, and I thought, oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, and his vocal is just very familiar. Actually, one of the songs he did was maybe I don't know if it was a Cream song or it was somebody else's tune, but he completely changed the chord progression, but it had the same lyrics. So it was basically a different song altogether. It was pretty cool. So there you go. I'm getting there. So thank you again, Benjamin. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's one of those things sometimes you gotta hear the right stuff. Like, you can say, oh, I'll listen to this guy. You hear it and you go, this guy's crap. Like, so I hadn't really had anyone go, here, you need to hear this album from this guy, or Rory Gallagher, hear this one. So he was one of those guys I've had to just sort of find online. The beauty of the internet, it makes it easy. I've got to tell you, this little weird hook on the bottom of this is kind of comfy. It sort of keeps the guitar in one spot. It's pretty good. Hey, James, thank you, man. He says, don't forget about Roy Buchanan. Yeah, Roy's one of those dudes that was probably way ahead of his time in terms of the way that he played. Look, I've heard a lot of his stuff. I've got a few of his albums too. Great guitar player. His vocal is not he's not a very strong vocalist. I think we'd all probably agree with that. But that's the sound of the Tally with a twin on 10. If you want to hear that, go listen to Rory Gallagher. Sorry, if you go hear Roy Buchanan. So that's that sound, that really loud, steely Tally tone. I think most people probably in the chat would have seen his Hey Joe live version where he's doing all the volume swells and stuff. If you're into that, go check it out. It's pretty cool. So thanks again, James. I appreciate it, man. Let me just scroll back up here. I missed a whole lot of stuff. Jeff Healey's great. You know, there's a new clip of, not new, but it's like just been posted recently of Jeff Healey and Stevie Ray playing live. It's pretty cool, man. I reckon Jeff Healey sort of, I mean, they're both great, but Jeff slays, man. He's a monster, no doubt about it. Jimi Hendrix, Hear My Trainer Comin', live at Berkeley, is one of the greatest performances. Yeah, I mean, Hendrix, man. He's sort of like an innovator. He's one of those guys. Father No says, you sound great with no pedals. Says a lot about the quality guitar and Fender Twin. Thanks. It depends on the clean tone too. Like, I said this to Rick, and I may have mentioned it earlier actually, that not all clean tones are kind of equal. Sometimes you get a lot back out of a clean channel amp, and other times it's flat and lifeless. So it's that big feel of, I mean, it's not loud right now, but it still feels good to play. And it'll ring out as well and just keep going. So it's a great starting tone to work with. So thanks for the super chats, guys. Simon says, cold and foggy down here in Tassie tonight. Man, it was like that this morning. It was so cold. Do you still rate the Vox AC15? I'm thinking of getting one to keep my Red Stripe company. Yeah, look, that's a good choice, man. You know, they make a AC30 S1, which has 30 watts, a slightly bigger cabinet, but with a single speaker. Excuse me, and I don't think they're that much more expensive. So if you need more power, get the 30 S1. But the AC15s are a great amp. There's nothing wrong with those at all. So, yeah, they're probably a better amp for playing at home, just because you can get that top boost channel kicks ass. You'll love it. Hey, Robert Baker's in the house, the rock star himself. We were just talking about you before, mate. Saying what I said, I know all your dirty secrets. No. We're talking about great guitar players. And yeah, so welcome, man. Awesome stuff. Do you ever watch educational stuff from Rick's channel? I do sometimes. I don't watch all of his videos. I find some of them, like, I'm not that interested in the 10 greatest pop guitar solos of all time. I don't listen to a lot of that sort of music, but I love how smart he is with, you know, he's a wizard when it comes to understanding music. There's no question about it. He's great at what he does. So yeah, I watch some of his videos. I don't watch all of them. I'm lucky I've got YouTube Premium, so I don't get any of the ads that he gets claimed with all those copyright things. You know what put me on the map with him years ago? It was, I said this to him when I met him, was I remember 2 videos from him. He said, Apple products are junk was one of them, which was, I think, more recent than one about being pitch perfect, because Rick's got a bit of that where he can hear stuff and just instantly play it in the right key and work the chords out. Because I had him over here, I'm showing him some new songs. I go, oh man, I'd love to play this. He goes, yeah, D, G, A, like he's just reeling off the chords, and he was right. Like, so, yeah, I know Rick's son, no, not Dr. Rick, but the other Rick, his kid can pick chords on a piano. So yeah, he's a freak. Yeah, we had earlier, Robert, Metalhead Hippie did a super chat plugging your sale, so you might owe him $5 if you if you get a few sales. What's my favorite tube screamer pedal? Ibanez TS9, Boss SD1. So I got a couple. In terms of the less expensive ones, if we're talking, actually we'll start with my favorites. The Maxon Overdrive Pro, the OD820, is arguably one of the best pedals I've ever heard. That thing totally rocks. I actually like the stock Overdrive OD808. So a tube screamer was a clone of those. It was a rebranded, like Ibanez rebranded Maxon pedals. So Maxon were the guys that did it. Tube screamers are still great. They're really cool pedals, but it's the same thing, right? You're just getting a different case. So there's no magic, the difference between them. Talking about less expensive ones, I would actually put the Alma Combo in that category now. I love what I'm getting out of it. I think it sounds really great. I also love they're hard to find now, but if you can still find one, they're like $50. It's called the Delta Lab TO1. It's green pedal, of course. It's made out of metal. I got mine from Guitar Center years ago. And it's still going strong, even till today. It's been bashed around, it's great. Another really cool one is the Voodoo Lab Sparkle Drive. It has one pot on there that's a little bit useless, but the rest of that pedal is really, really good. But yeah, I'm going to give the win to, out of all the ones I can think of off the top of my head, the Overdrive Pro is probably the best, like, official tube screamer. It just has a bit more of everything, and it's also a clean boost. All in one pedal with 3 controls. It's nice and simple. Hey, Mr. Miner, thank you, mate. Far out. Thanks for the super chat, mate. Need advice for conversion to play. Okay. So you want to. His question is, he needs advice for a conversion to play 230 volt amps in the US. So you need something called a step down transformer. Or it might be called a step-up transformer in the US. I don't know. Here we call them step-down transformers, which you basically get a box that plugs into the wall, and then you plug your amp into that box, and it does the 240 volts to, 230, 240. It's basically 240 here to 110. Yeah, step-down transformers. They might be called step-up transformers. I'm not too sure what they're called in the States, but that's what we get here. Anytime someone brings a US amp here, step-down transformers. Yeah, they're not that expensive. You can usually get them for about $50 to $80, somewhere around there. That would be my 2 cents. Look, we've got a lot of guys from the States in here now. If you're not, if Robert knows, or any of the other guys that use 110 volts who have ever imported an amp or know the exact thing, just let us know. But yeah, they're usually called step-down transformers. Should be able to get them from, you won't get it from, you know what, Sweetwater may actually have them, but if you check any sort of like electronics, like serious electronics shops that would sell parts to, like component level parts, you'll be able to get it from there too. I don't know what they're called off the top of my head in the States, but you know, we've got a place called J-Car here, which handle all those sort of like real niche things, like, I need a this to that converter. Yeah, that's where you go. So you need an electronics like superstore kind of deal where they've got component level parts. You get one, no problems at all. Ooh. We've got John Moyle. He says, "G'day from Lithgow, Australia's coldest city." I didn't know that. Far out. Welcome, mate. Hey, Pedal Pal Effects. Welcome, mate. One of the best Marshall pedals of all time. You can get one that is both step and step down, step up and step down. Okay, there you go. Yeah, those things are easy to find. I'm sure if just punch in Google and click shopping and you'll probably find some that pop up. You shouldn't have too many issues with it other than the fact you're going to have to always have it in the back of the amp ready in case you forget. So if you're a gigging muso and you want to take it to a gig, chuck it in the back of the amp, because if you get to a gig you'll go, oh no, plug it in, boom. Oh, you won't actually be able to plug it in because the plug will be different. We've got little we've got angled pins. The US ones are flat like this. Australian ones are like that. And we also have the earth in the middle on a lot of them. So there's sometimes the 3-point plug. Mocambo is a legendary club in Toronto. It was. I don't think it is anymore, right? Like I think it's turned into some cheesy sort of. I don't think they do much of the live music anymore, or the good live music. I heard it completely changed. I mean, I've been hearing about it for years. I've got Stevie Ray's show there and a whole lot of others. PAL 800 is still the best Marshall pedal I ever played. Totally agree. It's definitely the best at that sound. No doubt about it. Thinking about getting a Fender bass breaker. Have you tried them? Any thoughts on them? The only one, there's two that I'd recommend. The 15 and the 30R, the newest one. I wouldn't buy any of the others. We blew one up on camera. I've found them in shops where their speaker had fallen out into the cabinet. Just highly unreliable amplifiers. I would almost, after seeing that when they released the single 12 one that sounded as great as it did, I still couldn't buy it because I didn't trust it. They're notoriously unreliable amplifiers. You go to any guitar tech shop, you'll see them in the corner. They're horrible in terms of reliability. So I have a hard time recommending them, even if you love the tone. Just make sure they don't rattle and everything's right, because the only ones I haven't had trouble with is the latest one, the 30 and the 15. Nearly all the others I've tried have had issues. I don't really think some of them, with the exception of those two, I don't really think the others sound very good, to be honest. So if I was you, I'd buy like a Supersonic or something a little different, or a Marshall. Just my 2 cents. If you've got your heart set on the 30, give it a shot, but buy it new because you want a warranty with it. Engel, Benson, Milkman, or Victory amps. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Victory amps either. I think they're too bright. And just a little bit. Look, some of them can sound alright, but yeah, Engel's not a brand that I like at all for my style of music. Their clean channel's not nice. Benson I've never played. Milkman are really good. But yeah, the Victory amps that I've heard, it's just a personal choice thing. It's not my sound. They're too sharp sounding. There's too much brightness and a little clangy. Like there's not enough niceness in that tone for me. I like other people using them, but yeah, I wouldn't buy one for myself. Alright, I'm going to move my screen next time I do this, so I'm not always looking away from the... Should have just moved the camera. Yeah, way to go, Einstein over here. What's my favorite guitar in the collection? Yeah, it's a tough question. It just depends on the day. It really does. Like this is a really nice guitar. I like my 50s Tally a lot. The one that's the same series as this. I actually think I like that one more than my old 52. That's the sad state of it. It really is a beautiful instrument. I love my V too. I really can't give you a solid answer. The one I love gigging with the most is not my most expensive, and it's the PRS SE. It does everything right. It just plays great, it stays in tune, it's light. I've got all the extra fret access. The tones are great. You know, pair that with the Marshall and it's phenomenal. But it depends on what sound you want too. So that's a mood thing for me. I'm not really like, oh, I just have to play this all the time. I'm not like that anymore. I used to be more like that. I'm not anymore. Oh, there you go. Someone just asked me my opinion on the SE guitars. So that's my opinion. Like the Korean ones, there's the one I've got from about two and a bit years ago. Awesome instrument. I just reviewed, and it's uploaded, scheduled or whatever, one of the newer Korean ones, and it's a different, one of the new Indonesian ones, and it's a different instrument in a couple of ways. I'm not saying it's a bad instrument, but the one I had didn't really play that well. It needed some setup work, and that was the first time I've ever played any PRS guitar that needed setup work. They've all been good, except for one. It actually has a slightly higher action, but it was still really playable. But yeah, look, the SEs are a great value guitar. I love it. I don't like the split coil tones too much, but I like everything else about them. Whoa. I'm really interested to see how this sounds for you guys, because what I'm hearing is it's very low volume, but it still sounds all right. Hopefully the tones are good. Yeah, the cool thing about the Tone Master, it's got the XLR on the back, and I've got it set to, I think, the Royer 121 microphone impulse response. So you can either have it SM57 or the Royer ribbon mic. And you can actually have the amp on standby and it will still come through via the XLR out. So that's pretty cool. Million Years question, Maple or Rosewood? Also your thoughts on Randall amps? Yeah, Randall's another brand I haven't had a lot of experience with. They're not really, they're more aimed at sort of like, in my opinion at least, like people who like to rock a lot more than play blues. I don't know any blues guys that play Randalls. I know a lot of rock guys that play them for that sort of sound. That they'll be okay, but yeah, they're not really like a sound that I go for. Not to say that they're bad amps, just a different. It's like, you know, high gain boogies. It's not an amp I play. And in terms of the Maple or Rosewood, I think visually they can both look great, right? I think it doesn't really affect anything other than the fact that, do you like the look of the guitar? A lot of the Strats I've had over the years have been white. I've had a few of them. I had 3 of them now. I had 2 Mexican-made ones. One had the Rosewood fingerboard, which I love the look of. The last one that I just sold. The one before that I got when I was overseas was basically like this, but it was like Arctic white or whatever, so it was just a solid paint instead of being able to see through it a bit. This is a bit more translucent. And that had the maple fretboard, and a deluxe one that I had was maple as well. I think sometimes the maple can look a little classier if it's a nice piece of wood, but at the end of the day, I couldn't really care less. The only time I don't want to buy, I wouldn't want to buy like a maple neck or fingerboard would be on something like a Gibson where it would look weird, right? Like that needs that darker color there. But on Strats and Tallys, I think I'm probably more partial to this. But at the end of the day, I couldn't really care as long as the guitar's great. It's just look at it more like a visual thing. I don't think it's really going to give you any advantages. I could be completely wrong. What do I think of the Squier Bullet? Man, how did that go out of tune? Whole thing just went out. Was I using the whammy bar? What the hell? Oh, this is locked in on my... I had this locked on the... It was up and pushing the tremolo out. Ah. Yeah, so it's in tune. I've just turned it out of tune now. Oh, I'm an idiot. Let's check the tremolo arm. I don't usually leave them on, the Strats. It was fine. The tremolo arm was out. The one with the Bardens is the winner. It's a great guitar. It's super cool. I'll never get rid of that. There's no reason for me to sell it. Oh yeah. Let's put it all back in tune. Which one was it? Yeah, G's out. There we go. After 5 months, my Spark is getting ready to ship. Hope it's good. Very cool, very cool. What do I think of the Squier Bullet Strats? You know, they're good value for money. I've got a video coming up pretty soon. I re-reviewed a few of the old like the entry-level Squires. I would say if you've never bought a guitar, probably buy something a little nicer. It'll get you through, but you'll probably want something nicer once you can play a bit. Get a Yamaha Pacifica. That would be my suggestion. They're a much better guitar at around the same price. So yeah, I did a review recently on a Yamaha Pacifica versus a Squire. It's maybe 2 videos ago, maybe 3 or something like that. Check that out. That'll have, I give you my opinion on what plays best out of the box. And if it was me starting again and someone handed me a Squire Bullet or even an Affinity Series one or a Yamaha Pacifica, I would take the Yamaha. You know, there's no questions about it. It's just a better instrument. The neck feels better. The tuners are way more reliable. It feels better, and it's one of those things. Feels hard to explain to someone who hasn't been playing much. That, like, you give a beginner 2 guitars, a Gibson and an Epiphone, that you probably won't be able to tell the difference. Someone who's been playing a while, you give Robert Baker a cheap Bullet or a classic Vibe, and he'll be able to tell you the difference straight away, even without looking at them, which one's which, right? Like, there is a difference. So get a Pacifica. That would be my suggestion. Go check that video out I did anyway, and that might help you. I know it's a different guitar. The Bullet is actually less expensive than the one that I've done in that video, and I wouldn't really go any lower than that one. What's your finger style like? Not great. You know, I've learned how to sort of, I play a bit of blues like that. I never learned how to do any of that properly. It was just whatever felt right. I think one of my strengths with some of the rhythm ideas is the percussion thing. Like, I can take a groove that might be more like strummy and sort of turn it into, or yeah, keeping that going. So I don't know if it's like a good technique thing or anything. Yeah, I like doing that snare sort of hit thing. So I don't know. It's probably not the best. I've learned how to sort of, it's not strong. Let's just leave it at that. That's about as good as it gets. I think it's 90% in the fingers and 90% in the pickups and the amp speaker. Also, half or 75% of the people can't do math. Yeah, that's right. That's funny. 92.7% of statistics are all made up. Yep. Yeah, Yamahas are pretty tough to beat for their price. They really are. Look, you can get a Harley Benton, which are good too, like the T52s. You can get an SX guitar, which is pretty much comparable to a Yamaha in some ways. There's something about the Yamaha guitar that feels great to play. You grab the neck and it feels like a good instrument, where it's just got a better feel about it. And I think, like, yeah, it is what it is. It's just a weird, maybe it's just me, but I really like the Pacificas. What do I think of PV? You know, I used to love PV stuff until I had a bit of bad luck with one of their Delta Blues amps, and the reverb tanks were faulty, and so many of them. You used to turn the reverb up, and the amp would just start going ooh, and making this really big oscillating loop effect distortion sound. It sucked. So after that, I pretty much stopped buying PV stuff. But I think I like old PV gear. I like the Bandits. I think they're great amplifiers. I was just talking about the Delta Blues, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah, I had a few problems with Delta Blues amps. I haven't bought any of the newer ones, which is what I was just trying to say. But I have no hesitations buying like an old Bandit if I ever had to. I've done that like 3 times. Alexander, welcome. Sorry, did I miss a question? We've got guitars and stuff in here as well. I think sometimes the chat flips and I miss it, so just ask again if I missed something. Sorry, guys. Tone Master Reverb Deluxe sounds amazing clean. Not the very best overdriven, however. Yeah, they're not amps that are really supposed to... Well, maybe the Deluxe. You can we actually played one in the shop the other day and it sounded pretty good. But you still would rather run your pedal into it than just turn it up. And the twin amps, even though they're valve, they're not designed to distort. You can push it slightly by turning the power output down and then just cranking the master, but I've owned twins and they sound terrible when you do that. Do I prefer the jack to be on the front or on the side of the Pacific, like the Pacifica? It doesn't really bother me. I think probably I could live with either, really. Like the Explorer, the thing I liked about the Explorer was the jack was on here and on the side. I think that kind of works. You know, I think, was the Yamaha like that? It was too. Yeah, either's fine. Like I don't really have any preference for. I think it suits the Strat like this, but the Volas are different again. They don't have that front loading jack. They got like the one underneath, and that's fine too. So kind of keeps the. I mean, obviously it's a Tele, right? But the Strat doesn't have it either. I kind of like its simplicity on the front. So yeah, it's super cool. Just depends on the guitar. I really don't have any preference. Is the quick and easy way. Is tone the right word? It's attack and finger pressure pivoting that creates the guitar note sustain, not inherited genes that dictate your tone in the fingers. Yeah, it's the tone thing is it's in your hands. It really is. Like you could give a great guitar player a cheap guitar, and it's going to sound great. It really will. So it's all about sort of milking the notes and your attack dynamics. You're right, absolutely all that kind of stuff. I think a lot of the tone is definitely an amplifier thing more than it is a guitar thing. Like a nice guitar is great to play. Some of them are really inspiring. There's no questions about it. But if you said to me, here's a $5,000 guitar and a $100 amp and not a used PV Bandit, but like a piece of junk is what I'm getting at. $100 in Australia, $60 US, 65 US. Or you can have a Marshall DSL 40 and play a Squier worth $200. That's the combo I'm going for, because the sound I get out of that Marshall will be infinitely better than the crap amp with a great guitar. So yeah, that I would have no. I think a big part of getting a good sound is your amplifier. I mean, it starts in the hands and in the brain and all that kind of stuff, but an amp will give you, you know, a much better sound than buying lots of guitars hoping to make your amp you don't like sound better. I thought PV went bankrupt. Well, they're still making stuff, so I don't know. They went, I think they sacked everybody and moved all their manufacturing to China. I think that left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths about the brand. I wouldn't be surprised if they pretty much call it quits. I don't know, have any information on that, but I don't see that brand anywhere anymore. Like Laney disappeared in Australia. I see maybe 1 or 2 amps a year of theirs floating around in little independent shops somewhere. PV isn't a brand I really see anywhere either anymore. I don't know if it's like that overseas or in other parts of Australia or wherever you're from, but I thought, Landon, take it easy, man. Thanks for hanging out. Time is 11:30. Far out. Pedal Pal Effects says, hey Shane, what do you prefer regarding the tone only, the Pro Junior or the Blues Junior? Yeah, I'd take the Blues Junior, just bigger speaker, bigger tone. reverb, and a fat button. I would take that, yeah, easily over the Pro Juniors. Are fun little amps, but yeah, you miss that big sort of push of sound. The Blues Junior 4s are the best they've been. They've got good speakers. They fixed the reverb tank issues. That would be easily my suggestion, mate. Fender is for high headroom. It is. You know, one of the problems I always had recording twins back in the day, like I bought one because it had, like I bought one of the weird twins. It was 100 watts, had a step down thing to 50, so that was cool. It had wheels, it also had a really great drive channel. It's a super cool amplifier, but the problem I had with it was it never really recorded that well. It was a really hard sound, and I wanted more of a slinky modern feel. And I mic'd up the DeVille, which was the 212 one that I had at the same time. And DeVille recorded so much better to my ear on the recordings. It was as nice as you could want. You know, I've never really been the biggest fan of twins in a recording sense. They do the big clean, they got a hard clean sound. It's just like, and if you like that, it's great. But in a live mix, it works really well, and I used to love using my other twin. But I never liked recording with it. I always opted for other amps. Yeah, it's just a weird, it's not like the DeVille had just more bottom end, a less sort of harsh attack on the top end of the note. It was just this big silky sound. I love that. But yeah, both are great amps. Have I ever tried flipping a right-handed Strat? Look, I've played right-handed guitars upside down. I'm forever knocking the volume controls and stuff, because they're right in the way. Like, imagine playing like this. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're always knocking into things, and it's just, yeah, I don't have the patience for it. I'd rather not get a guitar than flip it if it's going to be annoying. Look, there's a lot of people, even Jamal, who was here before, he flips some guitars upside down, but he's used to it. Eric Gales over here does it as well, but he's used to it as well. I've never learnt to play a guitar that way up. So where I keep my arm, it's right in the way of where all the controls would sit. I would have to sort of be really conscious of not knocking into things. What about Gretches? Gretches are good. They're not really my style of guitar. I'm not really, yeah. There's a few that I like, sort of like the solid body ones are pretty good. The like Les Paul kind of knockoffs. Yeah, I can appreciate how nice they are to look at. Like some of the Chet Atkins one's nice, and the White Falcon, but I'd never buy one of those things. They're just not my style of guitar at all. They're too elaborate and too big. I hate guitars with floating bridges. I'll never buy one of those. That's a nightmare. I think they probably glue most of those down now, but have a Laney Lionheart, and I just love it. Is it Laney Lionheart they make one with two 10s or two 8-inch speakers, which is a great little amp. It's one of their like 10 watt or 12 watt tube or valve combos. It's really cool. I've demoed one like 10 years ago. I think it might have been that one. I can't remember, but it sounded really, really good. Oh, chat just scrolled. PV closed the Mississippi factory right under the Undercover Boss. Yeah, I watched that whole Undercover Boss series on YouTube when it was posted. All the comments from the guitar players on the PV one was pretty amusing, pretty sad, but also pretty amusing. If you want to go check it out, go have a look. Yeah. Really happy this morning. Sucks on your lockdown, but I'm thankful you made my morning on my day off. Thanks, man. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate that. Thank you. All good. I'm going to do some more live streaming coming up. I'll get set up properly on the next one. I've been filming in my other room. I've got some other videos I'm knocking out at the moment for my tech channel, and then I'll be back in here with the proper live setup where I can switch stuff. And the next live stream I want to have a computer hooked up so we can share amps and models and all that kind of stuff with everybody. DeVille's good. Amp, upgrade the caps and speakers. Happy days. Yeah, look, I actually think as much as I don't like the stock Fender Eminence speakers, in a DeVille they work. Something about two of them just sound great. I used to love my DeVille until I hurt my back. They throw so much wind, you know, those amps. They're just... Yeah, I think another problem, a few people are mentioning PV. I think one of the biggest problems with PV, when you have an amp that's made in the US and it's say the PV Delta Blues here was $900, then they get shipped and made overseas, which would cost them far less, and they're still the same price. It's like, yeah, good luck with that. I think that's a pretty tough business model. Now, I used to love PV stuff, but I won't be buying one of those amps. Not because of that either, but I just don't trust. After the last few that I had, they weren't very good. Maybe the new ones will be more reliable. Who knows? But yeah, if I buy another Delta Blues or anything like that, or a Bandit, it'll be a used one. There's no way I'd buy one new. So the way that I'm going to do a lot of these live streams, they'll appear and then they'll go unlisted. So if you've got notifications turned on, you'll still be able to see the video after it's been done, and then it'll just basically go unlisted. I don't like leaving them up because everyone whinges when they're not there. Oh, time code it. I'm like, if it's a 2-hour video, time coding it will take me 2.5 hours. You know, it's a long process. So yeah, these are just, you know, in the moment hangouts. I'll unlist them. If you've got notifications on, you'll be able to get the link and just watch it back later or whatever. So, or if you miss it. But I'll do a few more of these coming up. Wampler overdrive pedals such as the Clarksdale. Yeah, Clarksdale's a good pedal. I think some of Brian Wampler's pedals are way too complicated. There's way too many controls. I like his enthusiasm and I like his ideas for some of those controls, but I just find them to be unnecessarily complicated. He's got one called a dual fusion, which 2 of my friends have, and it sounds great, but there's a kill switch in the middle. And when everything's working and you can't get your sound and you panic and you're doing a festival, this has happened, not to me, but one of my good friends, and he found out there's this switch that kills the pedal. It's got 2 inputs and 2 outputs, and if you get the signal chain going in one way, you need to flick the switch. So in his gig bag, the switch got flicked. That's the last thing you think of, right? There's stuff like that I wish weren't part of the design. Like, get rid of that. Just have the signal flow no matter what. So yeah, I like some of his stuff, and some of his stuff I find way too complicated. But I like the dude. I think he's a cool guy. And doesn't he own stock in like what's the Warehouse guitar speakers? Is he the owner of that as well? I heard something about that. Like, or maybe he buys the. There's some connection there that I heard about recently. Like maybe his pedals are, the metal is made by Warehouse guitar speakers or something like that anyway. I can't remember. The Bandit is heavier than the 212. I think my Bandit weighs more than my... Wow, really? Yeah, that was... One of my friends, Brian, said that. He's... Like, we both had the same... Oh, you know, there's a time I was buying a lot of Bandits to compare them, and I gave one to him for like the same price I bought it, like $100. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, he goes, you know what? I don't know why I'm playing the Bandit over the Blues Deluxe. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, it's the same weight as the Blues Deluxe. I was like, what are you, really? Yeah, some of them are pretty heavy. I think I sold him the Silver Stripe PV Bandit, which definitely weighed a bit. I played guitar at this time in Australia, my neighbours and family would kill me. So I'm in a house here. I can pretty much make as much noise as I want. It's pretty cool. But I've also got my amp at a very low volume. What you're hearing is a direct output into the sound card. Excuse me. So it may sound loud to you. I'm not too sure how it sounds because I can't hear it. Actually, I'm going to have a quick listen. Hang on. I haven't got my sound on. Awesome. Yeah, I can get away with it here. It's pretty cool. I never play loud late anyway. It's nearly midnight here. It's my first live stream in tracksuit pants. I thought, why not? Bring the classiness, which was already really low, to a new low. Wampler pedals are great, but too many controls, more than 3 is a waste of time for me. Yeah, I feel the same. I think 4 is about as much as you'll need. There's some that are like representations of amps, which they've basically cloned the circuit. There's bass 3-band EQ. That's the exception to the rule. But when there's all these different toggle switches and I always say if you can't get a good sound with everything at 12 o'clock, send it back. And I think there's like these bass cuts and I'm like, man, just make it sound good when everything's up at 12 o'clock. Start there. He's got a few pedals like that, but yeah, some of them are just way too overcomplicated for me. But the ones that are simple that sound good are pretty cool. Have I tried the Rev D20 or the G20? I haven't, no. Yeah, I don't know much about that. Interesting parallel with the Wampler warehouse. Back in the day, Premier drums were chromed in the Rolls Royce factory across the road. Wow. Yeah, well, that's what I heard. I heard something about it. It was either on a live stream or I read it somewhere. Like, yeah, I don't know if he owns part of Warehouse Guitar Speakers, but there's definitely some connection there. It might just be the manufacturing process of the metal or something, but yeah, I do remember hearing. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was something like it. Yeah, Tumnus is awesome. I got to say, I mean that's a clone, right? So I still stand by this. The best clone for $100, made in the US, is the Shelly Pony Boy. It's a beast. $100, handmade. It's slightly bigger, so you can, it's got you can get in there. I think the really small Tumnus, the controls are so close to each other, but that's a great sounding pedal too. That's a simple and effective pedal. It's exactly what I'm saying before. Make them simple, make them sound good. I remember I borrowed I can't remember the name of the brand, but they've got these pedals that have like 15 pots on the front. Bliss Audio or something? Chase Bliss Audio, is that a brand? I got it out of the box. I'm like, nah. No way. Like, I'm not going to spend 15 hours learning how this thing works. I'm taking it back. Oh, the inputs clipping. Easy fixed. Thank you all. How's that? Just finished renovating the old Strat and wired it up with the Blender Master Tone Control mod for something different. Loving the expanded tonal range. Have you ever tried it? No, I don't think I have. I don't think I've tried one of those mods before. Yeah, I don't think so. No, I don't really know much about it either, to be honest. That's pretty cool. Feel free to let me know a bit more about it, what it actually does. I think I've heard of it before, but I don't think I've ever come across that before. Hang on, what was the other question? damn. Sorry, I missed a question I was going to answer here. Track pants will be my uniform for the next 6 weeks. Yeah, I'm going to join you. I actually bought 2 pairs of these the other day. I was like, yeah, that'll do. Done. Earthquake. What was the other? Oh, there it is, Michael. Sorry, it says, how does the strap work on that guitar? Just like any other guitar. It's actually pretty cool because once you get it locked in, it doesn't feel like it's going to come loose. Like this is the one I actually used on the video. So I'll just put the wrong. Oh, actually, I'll do it right. So yeah, just goes in. Yeah, it's fine. So I didn't have any issues with it. Although on the video I also used those little rubber strap locks just to just to be safe. But that's actually on the floor. So yeah, no, it works fine. I didn't think twice about it. It doesn't sort of, you'd think it would sit weird or something, but it's fine. Just finished renovating. Oh, I read that already. Sorry. As a clone, I love my Archer and Icon. Yeah, the Icon Archers are great pedals. I think Rick's got a couple of them as well. Just playing the gravity lick. Yeah, that's about the only. I butchered that. I never learnt it properly. I just learnt. I knew it's somewhere around there. It always reminds me of, you know, where that kind of came from, right? You know. Yeah. It sort of sounds a bit like how's it go? Now I've got the gravity in my head. Hang on. Yeah. That's sort of, I think that might have been part of the influence, the same couple of chords too. I mean, different songs, different time signature as well, but yeah, definitely there's got to be some influence there. Need to find Shane a Diesel VH4 2-pedal to review, only 12 knobs on that one. Nah, I'm good. I am good. Yeah, anything. I'll tell you what, when you play live, the last thing you want to do is fiddle with lots and lots of stuff. If it doesn't sound good with a few control. Look, like I said, there's amps in pedals. Fair enough, I get that. And there's some that require a 3-band EQ. And EQ pedals don't really count either because they're a different beast. But I love just going, all right, I need more drive. It's that one. Turn it up. Done. Sorry, I should check, but have you tried something from the normal side of the Schecter range, like their Tallys? You know what? I'd love to. You asked me 3 years ago, I'd laugh, right? But after seeing how many left-handed guitars they make the most left-handed guitars out of any brand in the world. They got 43 models, and a lot of them look really cool. They're not really that dissimilar to something like this. So, yeah, I would love to try some of their lefties. Absolutely. Every time I go to the guitar show, one of my favorite booths is seeing, like, they obviously got the metal guitars, and then they've got the old man guitars that I like, and they're really, really cool. They're really cool. So, yeah, I have no qualms about testing those at all. I'd actually really like to. I might see if I can borrow some from Schecter in Australia once they reopen and see if they're cool just sending some out for like a loaner, just to see, you know, if I can go through a few of them. Because I'm working on another website right now too. So this is what else I do, which I don't talk about that often, but I build a lot of niche websites. So one of my newest ones is basically a left-handed guitar website that's going to cover everything. And I'd love to feature some of their stuff not only on the channel, but also doing some reviews of them as well. So yeah, wonderful tonight. Yeah, so same. And that's all that BB King stuff. You know that BB, there's a lot of reverb on there too. I'm just starting to notice that now as I'm digging in a bit harder. BB's the master. That BB box. He's the master of making that sound groovy. You know, like he'll get in these rolls where it might be going like, say something around that tempo. He makes it really interesting and groovy. He's got a really unique approach to that simplicity of just taking those 3 or 4 notes and making them feel good. And yeah, really unique. I was watching this Josh Smith instructional video. He was talking about concepts about taking a solo and creating a part in the moment, right? So he was talking, I can't play exactly what he was talking about, but say you're in G, he'd come up with like something like that is the core of that idea, right? So he'll go, but he'd try to find something in those, instead of just going randomly, he'll try to come up with like some sort of, say that's the idea, right? We'll come back to that. So he comes up with something that's, well, Knopfler's great at that, right? He'll come up with a reoccurring, like, little riff in his lead parts. But yeah, all of a sudden, Josh Smith, I was like, oh yeah, that's really cool. Sometimes you get on rolls with stuff and you go, oh, I can keep coming back to something, but he'll start his foundation just off a really basic idea. I mean, there's times where he obviously doesn't do that as well, but I liked his it was a really insightful approach to playing lead. Like, come up with a part or a recurring part in each of your solos just to come back to something familiar. And he's right, it's what connects with people more so than anything else, especially for the blues stuff. I've been digging the Edge lately. Everyone mocks him. Oh man, Edge is great. I don't know who mocks the Edge, but they're idiots. Edge is like one of the tone masters, man, and he's such a great rhythm player. He's not your, Eddie Van Halen sort of ripping up and down the guitar, but his riffs are iconic. Like, his guitar tones are iconic, and he's not playing the same guitar sound every album, which is another tough thing to do. He finds new sounds. You look at songs like, Mysterious Ways, completely different tone to, say, the 80s stuff. Like, it's just a completely different thing. Like, I still haven't found what I'm looking for versus, even some of the stuff on the pop album. So yeah, he's something. He's great, man, and the Edge is cool. Yeah, I think he's one of the best at coming up with parts that just work. It doesn't have to be flashy to be great. And I don't think his stuff's that easy either. Like, you try playing, like you said, you'll crash and burn when you try doing it. Have you ever tried one of those Ibanez art cores? I have. I've tried one. It's pretty cool. I think it was a hollow body arch. Yeah, it was. It was an arch top. Definitely a hollow body, sort of jazz style guitar. It was pretty cool. Sunday, Bloody Sunday. Yeah, I learned quite a lot of those licks back in the day. Just bits and pieces of those songs. Well, one of the first songs I ever learnt was One. But I didn't ever play it to the album exactly the same way. But I remember kind of... yeah. What's the other one? I remember in Michigan here in... it was weird. When I was there in 1999, every morning, it was like Groundhog's Day, man. You'd hear the same songs every morning on the radio. It was like they programmed it for a week. And one of the riffs, I loved this song when it was out. I actually bought the album from Walmart over there. It was, how did it go? I gotta get the song in my head. Oh, now I've got the high. Oh yeah, here we go. I got bloody one in my head now on the first chord. That's it. Remember that? I don't know if you remember that Hey Now song from Everlast. That album is so good. What a cool album. That was 1999, man. Far out. Time's flying by. Now sing Metallica's One. Yeah. Good luck with that. Yeah, well, I don't know, man. Bashing celebrities is you might be right, but you never know how much other stuff they do behind the scenes too. Like you can say someone's selfish. You might have donated 30 million to something. You never know. So, yeah. Oh, that was it. It was like a finger picking thing, I think. I can't remember how it first. It's starting to sound like it now a little bit more. Yeah, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but yeah, it was the one with Carlos Santana. It was huge. In 1999, man, that was a song. It was just a big tune. Great song. Tim Pierce played on that song. Wow. Okay, far out. Really, on Everlast's song, or were we talking about someone else's? Because the lead part on that was Carlos Santana. What It's Like is what it's called. Yeah, great tune. I remember buying it from the radio edit. Always like blanked out the swearing. I was like, oh, I wonder what the lyrics are to it. So I bought it from Walmart, not knowing that they censor all their albums. So I get it back. I put it on the CD player. I was like, oh, I'll never find out. I remember years later hearing the song when I got back, and I was like, oh, so that's. Now I've got the unedited version in my head. It's hard to hear all the edits now. Yeah, Tim is a great player, total pro. Put your lights on. Yeah, What It's Like was the other tune. Sorry, that was the. I don't know what it's like. Yeah, far out. Put your lights on. Yeah, put your lights on. The monster. Yeah, that's it. You're right. So There was another song that he had that was really simple as well. So basically 2 chords, I think, that was popular. Maybe I'm getting them all confused now. My day has just become epic. I opened the control cavity on my guitar to establish the type of volume pot I need to replace, and I noticed the 2 contacts were touching. I don't have to replace it at all. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's pretty common. You know, the solder joints can just come off over time, and yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. That's good. It's good when you don't have to buy something to fix something, other than unless you need a soldering iron. Did all the little fills. You played a video. Oh wow, cool. I have to check that out. Yeah, I was a big Everlast fan. I got, I think, at least 2 of his albums on CD. The one I got in '99 and the one he had after that, which was called Eat It Whiteys, which had some really great songs on it as well. It was a bit more sort of, I guess the second album was a bit more mainstream. The first one, because he had that hip hop rootsy thing going on. Second one was a little less like that from memory, but had some really cool tunes, and yeah, it featured some other really great musicians on there too. Yeah, Smooth was it. Oh, that album, man, that Santana. You know, irrespective of what everybody thinks of Michael Jackson, I really wish, instead of releasing the crap he released in the last sort of 10 years or whatever came out 10 years ago, I wish he had done what Carlos Santana did and did an album with lots of current musos or great musos instead, and with instruments instead of that sort of 90s stuff he kept doing. I always feel like that would have been a good send-off for him to go back to sort of like, you know, you listen to Billie Jean and you listen to all those great songs and real drums, real bass players. You know, you can watch that drummer, you know, who did all the parts on Smooth Criminal and all that on YouTube. Like, yeah, there's videos of him doing the parts, and I'm thinking, far out, this is so good. I kind of wish he had done that just once instead of, like Carlos had that locked down. That album was huge. That Supernatural album. It's just a, you know, frame of reference for why that worked so well, because there was everybody on there. It was you know, all the guys. Dave Matthews Band had it had what's his name, Everlast on there as well. It had the dude from far out. I'd have to go back through it, but there were plenty of great musos at that time on that album, and it would have been great to have a really musical album with actual musicians, and maybe not pop star musicians. I don't mean that, but just get really great musos together and make a great album. That would have been so cool. Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I don't know if I, yeah, and the whole MJ thing sucks, right? Like, it's weird and disturbing and all that, but just in terms, like, you can't deny, very musical, a lot of great songs in the hits back in the day, but then it just went into like crap, basically. So many popular songs are 3 chords. I went back by the Jackson 5 stuff. I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. Yeah, there's a song from back in the day called Music's Taken Over. Have a listen to that. That's super funky, man. I think that's a great little tune. Fleety, that too, just started jamming with randoms. Yeah, I don't know. There's something to be said about that. When someone's career is kind of like on its way out, I think it's cool to see, like, a lot of blues guys will do that. They'll play with everybody. And then, you know, unfortunately, not long after that, they're usually pretty old by that point, like 70s or 80s. And then, yeah, it's a good sort of thing to have. You know, I loved what Clapton did for J.J. Cale. He got together with Knopfler, Mayer, and all these other great players and singers, did a tribute album. That sort of stuff is really cool. So I like seeing these collaborations. That's all I was getting at before. Like, those collaborations would have been good to see, is the point of that. Dummy question, but an important one. How to avoid electric shocks while playing guitar? Make sure your guitar is grounded and don't touch a microphone or anything else that's electric if your guitar is not grounded. A lot of the times when you get zapped from the microphone, there's an earthing issue somewhere. So if you're singing and playing and you get a smack in the face, which has happened a whole lot of times, or a short little one on the lip, there's usually some sort of grounding issue or earthing issue somewhere. Go get it checked. Oh yeah, it is clipping a bit. Hey, hang on, let me see if I can fix this up. Which way's down? That way. There we go. That shouldn't clip now. B.B. King stuff with Clapton was like, oh, that works, but so well. I was like mixing sweet with sour, and the sauce was made. Yeah, I always love those two guys playing together. Some of my favorites is Riding with the King. That's just a very influential album for me, man. Like, I used to jam to that all of the time. There's a song on there called Days of Old, which is this rock and shuffle. It must be 130 beats per minute. I mean, I haven't checked, but it's pretty fast. That was the song I always thought, if I can play to this, my fingers are moving all right. It's a really, really quick song. How's it go? Way back yonder in the days of old. Yeah, it's sort of like, it's at least that pace. You can't break the rules. On the avenue. Yeah, what a cool, that shuffle's one of my favorites. It's such a great rock and shuffle, just super cool. And I love their Sam, a lot of people don't like it, but I love their Sam and Dave version of Hold On. That is just... How can you not like that and then this? Like BB just doing that. Yeah, and all of those little slow blues licks over... oh man, I've sort of forgotten some of the names of the songs, but... Well, now it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it's just... Yeah, just lots of really tasty, understated licks. You know, one of the criticisms I read of it is they wished, like they went for it more instead of complimenting each other. And I was like, what kind of statement is that? Like, they're not out there trying to kill each other. And Clapton used to always have this mentality where he'd always have to be the best. That was the album where I felt like he's playing a lot more understated, but he kills it on a few tracks. But they're more of the rock ones, whereas the blues ones he kind of just does his thing. So, I don't know. It's a great album. What pick is this? What pickups have you got in there? Hot rails. So, yeah, this single coil neck pickup, and this one is like a rail pickup with like a little boost. It's like a passive boost. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot of that tally sound, though. It's as tally as it kind of gets. The video review of this will be coming up on Saturday. Hey, Landon, welcome, man. Yeah, I'll probably wrap it up shortly. Been going for a while. It's been fun, though. It's been good. Static from the pickguard. Copper tape in the background. I'm not sure what... Oh, were you talking about the zapping earlier? How was the setup out of the factory. I've done nothing to this other than change the strings. I broke a string filming the intro track. So I got through the intro track, and right as I was like, I dug in, and the E went snap. And I went, oh well, time to change the strings. So I changed them, and it's been great. I also love their acoustic version of Key to the Highway. That's one song that BB's playing acoustic guitar on, maybe for the first time ever. It's a great album. If you haven't heard Riding with the King, go check it out. It's Clapton's vocals are great, BB's great, the band's great. It's just a really cool, you know, two guys that are, you know, big fans of each other, and just, you know, they just got it's just a great mix. It really is. It's like the Stevie Ray and Albert King thing when they did the In Session. That worked because of their admiration and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And same with the BB King stuff. Bringing the white Strat. All right, we'll play it just for a bit. There it is. Yeah, man, I must have stole half the licks out of that bloody Riding with the King. That was one of the albums I got a lot out of. If I was to hear it now, I reckon I'd probably play most of the slow blues licks once I hear them again. Because I was like, yeah, that was... Yeah, it's yeah, it's a super cool album. Lots of great licks hiding around in there. What strings do I use? So I got 10 to 46s on everything now. It makes it nice and easy. I've still got a couple of sets of 11s in there. I might just give those to Rick. I don't need them anymore. The 10s are fine. Did I watch the Robert Johnson doc on Netflix? You know, I don't actually have Netflix. I'd fear I'd waste way too much time. You know, YouTube's bad enough of a time warp. Even as a content creator, I watch a lot of stuff. Or I have it on in the background, and it's really easy to get sucked into watching a lot of Netflix. So I don't have an account. I always, people are like, really, you don't have an account? I'm like, I don't really watch much television. If I'm usually on the computer, I'm working, I'm editing something while I'm watching something in the background, or I'm looking up stuff and I want to know about something or whatever. But yeah, I don't spend a lot of time with television or watching or streaming Netflix on a computer or anything. YouTube kind of is enough distraction for me too, so. Has my SE, is your SE trem decked? It isn't. No, I haven't done anything to that guitar. So that's one of the few that as it came, well, I don't think I did anything to that. I think if I did anything to it, I would have maybe tightened it up a bit, but let me check. I don't think I did anything to it, to be honest. So it's one of the first times with any guitar where the tremolo was so good that it made me want to use it. Like it's the most reliable trem system out of all of the guitars I've ever had. You know, this Strat's not bad, but the SE's where it's at when it comes to, like, yeah, so it's, let me just focus here. Wrong way. So it is flat, but it does move pretty easy. But if I bend, it doesn't move if I really dig in hard. So the only thing I got, well, there's 5 springs in the back. I didn't even know that. I don't even remember taking this off. So yeah, it may have just been like that. To be honest, I'm not too sure. I just don't recall ever really messing with anything on this guitar other than tightening the tuners. So it may have just come like that. I didn't even have to set up. Oh, sorry. I didn't even have to. I didn't have. Oh, it's out of tune. I didn't have to do anything to the action. I just tightened up the tuners slightly because they just needed a bit of a tighten. That's it. Which one did you buy, by the way, mate? Did you get a Korean one, or did you get the current Indonesian made ones? Because I could only see, I think when I went back to the shop, they only had black, like a black one. Sorry about that noise too. This guitar is so easy to play. It really is. That's why I bought it. It just feels so good. It really does. It's the easiest guitar I've got to play. And you can also, push-pull a tone pot. I'm not a big fan of that sound, to be honest. I find it a little too thin. But these pickups have got the right amount of tops. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, the trem just works. It's so effortless. You hardly even have to push down on it, but it doesn't move when you bend string, like when you double stop or anything. Yeah, no, I don't like the split coil at all, but when you got enough tops in a humbucker, you don't really kind of need it. Far out. What a great guitar. I haven't played this for a few weeks. Mine's Korean. Oh, good. Good. I'm glad, man. I didn't want to ask, but yeah, my review of the Indonesian one's coming up. It's not the same guitar. It may look similar, but it's a very different instrument. So yeah, good stuff. Because I think Rick said you got a blue one, and I was like, I don't think they make that color in lefties this year. So I had a feeling you had an old one. Very cool. Not too impressed with the bridge. The bridge humbucker kicks ass. Don't worry, you'll love it. It's great. It's got all the clarity without being too ice picky. I don't have any overdrive sorted out for tonight. I'm just playing clean, but the bridge pickup's one of the best for dirt you can get, man. It will sustain like nobody's business and give you all the tops. I just find these tones really usable. I don't know what it is. It's like, it's clear, but it's still got a lot of oomph, but it's never like muffled sounding. It's like a, yeah, I don't know. This guitar was just one of those ones, you all know the story probably. I bought this. I bought it from Sky Music, but I actually borrowed it from them for a review, took it back the next day, and then went back and bought it. Can you pull your trem up? I don't know. No. No, it doesn't do anything. Maybe a little bit. If it was floating, I'd be able to, but because it's like down on the body, it does a little bit. But yeah, the way I kind of use it is just for... Well, that doesn't sound very good. Hang on. Yeah, you can pull it up a little bit, actually. I've never really thought about that too much. Yeah, I just really dig it. It's just a really usable and just easy to use trem. It doesn't do anything weird. Does your Strat have the bridge tone control? Yeah, it does. Oh, which one? The Fender? Yeah, the tone control operates on the bridge pickup. I think only, possibly. What's my favorite blues technique? I don't know, man. Just playing and having fun. Look, I'm a big fan of vibrato. If I had to pick something that I like that sounds nice, it'd be a vibrato, or playing with dynamics would be one of those. There's plenty of great things that you could think about technique-wise, but playing some notes soft. A lot of people get in the habit of playing everything like just playing everything the same sort of note power. Yeah, so you jump a few notes out every now and then. Yeah, dynamics would be a big part of it, but I've always been a huge fan of like just nice vibrato. You know, bending up a note and then hitting some vibrato is always fun. I don't really think about it too much like techniques. It's more like a sort of, you know, if you listen to a lot of blues, you hear those sort of all of that getting used a lot on the most part. So, you know, your phrasing, your dynamics, yeah, bending is a huge one, obviously, all that, you know, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't know, just phrasing would be a huge part of it, absolutely. Good quote, guitar, OCD. I can see Paul stealing that one. I'm not sure if I missed something there. Sorry, I'm not sure what that means. Yeah, look, these guitars, even some of the PRS American ones, I don't think their split coils always sound great. Some of them sound really good, but I don't know if it's these particular type of pickups or what it is. In humbucker mode, these sound unreal. At least for the sounds that I go for. With the split coil mode, I just, because these aren't like super fat sounding humbuckers and they're plenty bright, you don't need the split coil. I actually make mention of that in the review that's coming up. Like, I don't know why they keep doing that. No one would use that and go, oh man, you know, well, that sounds great. That sounds better, right? Like, not just because it's louder, but it's fuller, and split coil or single coil tones generally have more low end on a good single coil pickup than a humbucker. Humbucker is more mid frequencies and lower mids and stuff, but it's good split coil sound should cover all the frequencies, and that to me just gets rolled right out. I don't like that at all. Maybe like, I know you got it from Sky Music, man. Just take it back. They'll set it up for you. Just get it set up. They won't charge you for it either. They're supposed to do that before you walk out with it. Have I tried the Greer Lightspeed overdrive? I have. It's pretty good. It's a good sort of off clean overdrive pedal, but you kind of need something going into it for a boost. That's my opinion on it. I think they make good stuff. Sorry, what was that? Good vibrato is one of the hardest things to master. Yeah, it is. Look, it is a touch thing more than it is anything else. And everyone's vibrato is slightly different. Like you can try and emulate, you know, the way Knopfler does it. Yeah, everyone's got their own unique sort of flavor to it, you know. It really is a unique thing. But you listen to some of the great blues players, or any of the great guitar players, they've all got awesome vibrato. Johnny G, thank you, mate. I appreciate that. You're welcome, man. Thanks for the support. I enjoy a split coil, a bit of fun jamming at home. I never use the sound when jamming out with others or playing live. Yeah, look, there's nothing to stop you from using it, right? I just feel like it's not this guitar's strength. If you're talking about the DGT from PRS, the split coil tones on that are sick. Like, it's so good. So, yeah, I think it comes down to the type of guitar that's doing the split coils. I kind of feel the same with the Gibsons. They don't split coils very well. So, or whatever you want to call it, single coil mode. It just doesn't sound good. But some of them they get right. I remember comparing a PRS DGT split versus a Tally or a Strat with Ryan, and the PRS sounded just as good. But this one doesn't sound anywhere near as good, so I don't feel like the split coil tones have any place for what I'm trying to do. It's just another thing to add to the complication of wanting to play. Whereas if I just leave it in the down position, I'm sorted. 3 pickup, 3 positions, and I'm good. Show you something. Here we go. All right, there's another Pepsi Max up there. That was for later. All right, I'm going to put this PRS back. We'll grab something else out of the cupboard. The cupboard. If my guitars don't fit in the cupboard, then they need to be sold. That's my rule. No 50 guitars. It's not my thing anymore. Let's put this on autofocus for a minute. Hopefully it'll focus. Come on, camera. Where's the switch? All right. So what do you want to hear? We'll do one more. We'll get one more out. So this is the case to the Strat. We'll put that away so it doesn't get damaged by a power supply. And then we can grab another one out. So if you're new to the channel, I've got a Flying V, I've got a Gibson Les Paul Special with P90s. I've got 2 Little Crow electric guitars, Australian made electrics, the Corvino and the Raven. We've got a Dan Electro 84. What else is in there? Man, I got a 52 reissue Telecaster, a Tokai Love Rock, which is like a Les Paul. I don't know if this is going to work because my lamp's in the way. But yeah, so the Flying V, the Tokai's there. What else? That's Dan Electro. That's Little Crow. Oh! Far out. I almost feel bad because I haven't played this much lately, but this guitar kicks ass. This is the Mendiola from Pure Salem Guitars. Far out. You know, I saw Andy Martin demo one of these recently. Yeah, this bridge pickup through with a bit of dirt is unreal. This is a keeper too. This thing's locking tuners. Yeah, it's an absolute beast. Yeah, I might do another video of this coming up. I feel like the last video probably didn't get seen by too many people. I think since then the channel's grown a little bit, so might be worth redoing some of these guitars again. It's all right. We'll see what everyone's saying. I can't see the screen. let's see the Dan Electro, Les Paul Special, Albert King. All right. A few people are saying the Dan Electro. All right, let's do it. So it's this one. I do have one other Dan Electro, but it's in the for sale room at the moment. I might do a tour of my my other room at one point. It's nothing special. It's not like it's full of great gear. Like it's, you know, it's not a setup like my little YouTube room here. It's just a room full of stuff that's on the way out. So yeah, this one I'm keeping. You know, I decided I was going to try and sell this a while back, and then I realized like it could be a one-off, and it's just that little bit different that it's kind of a bit of fun too. So yeah, I'm going to hold on to this. But I got one called a 59 NOS, which is like a 2 pickup sparkle job, and yeah, I don't really like some of those guitars at all anymore. Like even on the video, I criticized it probably a bit too much. I haven't heard from Dan Electro since that, but you know, this one I like a lot. It plays better and it just feels more like a guitar So I recently did a shootout between this, the Vola, and my Strat, and this was by far the most modern sounding guitar. It had a thicker tone, had a sort of beefier, it was a louder guitar, I think, also in terms of output volume. So interesting that that I would have anticipated this to be like the opposite of that. I'm just going to tune it up. This room gets so cold that, yeah, nearly every time I film, I have to tune it up a few times because the wardrobe is like 10 degrees colder than the house. Dan Electro 59 XT that I'm keeping, very cool. Yeah, it's just a feel thing, you know, like some guitars you sort of bond with and others you don't. This, to me, was probably, because it's so close to a Strat, it felt way more familiar, even though it's got the flat fretboard radius. It's not like a typical Strat. It does feel very different, and it sounds different too. The other ones I find, like, because of the kind of, if I was more of a rhythm guitar player, a lot of those other guitars I would have no hesitations in keeping. There was a few, actually, that I sold to kind of make ends meet, which were, they had like a dual lipstick pickup humbucker and like a P90 style pickup in the neck. They were cool, but yeah, I didn't really feel like it was something that I was going to keep or really need. I'd use a lot, you know. That's kind of. Man. 44 degrees Celsius there today, huh? Is that negative 44? Does Canada ever get sunshine? No, I'm only kidding. A couple of the other channels I follow outside of the guitar niche are out of Toronto, and he's always wearing t-shirts and shorts and stuff at the moment. So. Whose video was I watching the other day? The dude looked so tanned, like out of nowhere. I was like, oh man, it must be really sunny where you are right now. I can't remember who I was watching. But yeah, just, I hadn't watched one of his videos in a little while. I was like, the dude's got like the farmer's tan, and yeah, he looked like he'd been at the beach for a month. It was like, man, and then the rest of the year, who was it? I can't remember who it was. I can't remember. I like to look at that one. Yeah, this one feels and plays pretty great. When I woke up this morning, it was 3 degrees here. So it never gets much colder than that where I am, but 3 degrees is cold enough. Really can't get away with the flatter fretboards. Had an Ibanez for a while, it was nice, but just didn't feel nice to play because it was flat. Yeah, look, it's a different kind of thing. You just got to get used to playing it. It does feel different. And I didn't know it was that flat until I got another Strat. I was like, oh, I looked up the specs. I was like, man, this is a flat fretboard radius, basically. And I noticed it when I played the Ibanez Prestige, the made in Japan one. All right, that was a beautiful guitar. I was gassing hard for that. That had a flat radius, but after a little while, it felt great to play. So you do kind of get used to it, but I got to tell you, I don't like playing this as much as my Vola or the Strat. It is something you've got to get used to. But the advantage of it is if you like to have a low action, you can get that with this guitar. Whereas the Strats, you've got to kind of bring them up a bit so they don't get any buzz. With this, you can have it as low as you like. There isn't that advantage there. How long have we been going for? It must be 2 hours, is it? Doesn't tell me the time. Where is it? 9:50. Oh wow, far out. It's nearly 1 a.m. Well, I had no idea it was. Oh, I did. I checked earlier, but I didn't realize it was quite that late. No wonder I can't remember who I'm thinking of and which song it's called, and it's getting late. Yeah, so poor Melbourne, man. People are going to go back to the lockdown, which sort of sucks, but I think people should take advantage of the 4 reasons to get out and get out at least 3 of those reasons a day if you can. You know, get out there, don't just sit around all day. It's just not good for your mental health. You know, get out there, enjoy if it's sunny, or get out for a walk or do something, you know. Try and get out there, because sitting around sucks. Unless, you know, obviously most people still be working from home if they can. Not everybody. There was a thing on the news I watched where someone got a job a week ago and it's already over. It's like, oh, great. Started at 10, it's 2 hour, 45 minutes. I can never really think of anything to play when I'm just noodling around like this clean. I don't really know that many great bits to stuff that I could play. I think, oh yeah, I really think of that song when I think clean. There's only a handful of bits. When I get the drive behind me, I'm like, oh yeah, now I can kind of noodle out a little more, but locked down for 45 minutes and already going stir crazy. It's pretty nice sounding neck pickup, that. What happened to the list of songs on the wall? I took them down. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, I know exactly what it was. We did my friend Richo and I, who's a drummer, I got on bass and I set up in the other room to do some the backing tracks that you hear on the channel. There's 2 new ones coming up from that session actually. And I just had the list in there of different chord progressions and stuff like that. I should probably do that again. It's just really easy to go, oh yeah, man, here's 30 songs that I actually know. I can never really think of stuff in the moment. I just tend to noodle more, which isn't good. Black Dog. Black Dog. Yeah. yeah, all that sort of stuff is dangerous territory on YouTube. Are those regular dimension lipstick pickups? Yeah, they are. These are the normal size ones. I don't know if they... Oh, are they Strat style ones? Is that what you're asking? I think these are pretty much the standard size. So I don't know if they're completely interchangeable with like a Fender Strat or anything like that. They may be slightly longer. At least they look a little bit longer, but it's a good question. I'll have to check that out. I'm not sure. This is the 84, by the way. It says, yeah, there's the name of it there. You might be able to find some information on it. Sometimes being left-handed is actually pretty good. You know, you go to a jam and, you know, no one can really use your guitar. I actually don't mind that. Look, if one of my good friends said, hey, can I borrow your guitar? I'd be like, sure. But if it's someone you don't know, it turns up without a guitar, they're like, oh, can I borrow your guitar? And like, no. You know, there's all that whole awkward conversation you just don't have as a lefty. There was a lefty that came to the jam twice. He asked to use my guitar once, and I kind of half knew him. And I said, sure, why not? The second time he turned up, he goes, oh, can I play your guitar again? I'm like, don't you own a guitar? He goes, yeah, it's in the car. I said, well, go get it. I'm brutal, man. I think I got Tourette's sometimes. Heard that guitar and had to come back to see what it was. That Dan Electro sounds sick. Never seen one of these before. Major guests coming on. These are actually really great value. They're back, I think they're around like $500, $600, somewhere around there. I have a feeling though they're being discontinued. That's US dollars. I think in Australia they were selling for like $1,200. But lefties are pretty tough to find. So yeah, you may have to contact them to see if, you know, I nearly once a month I get an email about, oh, where did you get it? How do I get a lefty? And I always say the same thing, you know, Dan Electro was nice enough to send one out, but I haven't seen any other lefties. That's kind of why I think I'm going to hold on to it. I don't often hold on to stuff because I think, oh, it might be a one-off, or if I don't play it, I usually flip it. But I'm starting to like the difference of this. It's pretty cool. It's just a point of difference. It's definitely not as nice to play as my new Strat, but it's a different instrument with that flat radius of the fretboard and the lower action and the sort of thicker sounding pickups. It definitely will have its appeal. Tommy handed me the Raven, just strummed a couple of polite chords and gave it back. I don't remember that at all. Sorry, man. Yeah, the Raven's a beautiful guitar. It's yeah. I don't remember. Maybe. Yeah, I don't remember. Sorry, man. That was one of the guitars that this other dude wanted to play. I was like, you only get one shot on it. That's it. In fact, he had his guitar in the car. It's like, oh, it's in the car. Like, car park's outside, mate. Go get it. Yeah, it definitely had. It does have that percussive sort of vibe to it, no doubt about it. without why Kirk Hammett would be in a mental institution. He's such a nice guy, man. I met him many years ago. He's a super chilled guy. One of the nicest, like, you think, what are these rock star guys going to be like? But he was such a lovely dude, man. Such a cool guy. He's shorter than me too, which was hilarious. Timestamps for the video? Nah. What was that song that Sting did with Eric Clapton? Remember that was what it's got that cool like E song that someone will no doubt know. This one. Oh no, there's one more chord. What is it? Ah. Yeah, I have to hear that again. That's a great tune. It's Probably Me. That was one of my early guitar influenced songs as well. All those licks. Oh man, just such great. Yeah, I have to find there's this really great bridge section in it as well. Not the easiest person ever got to know. Yeah, I have to go over that. It's a great tune. Is the lipstick noisy with distortion? Because they're slightly hotter pickups, they're not as bad as like a vintage Strat. So if you're going to be using 50s pickups or something like that, they're going to buzz more than these will. These are pretty good. I kind of wish I had it plugged into the Kemper, but then I wouldn't have been able to hear it. So, but anyway, without headphones on at least anyway. But I've used this live, it's fine. So yeah, it's one of the guitars that don't have any issues really with, you're going to get single coil buzz, but you do also get the hum cancelling positions as well, so that's pretty cool. But the more modern or the hotter the pickups are, the less of that inherent buzz you're going to get. So that it will buzz less than some Strats. Are those machine head screws adjustable? You mean on the, no, so you can't, like if you're talking about here, you can't tighten, no, they're like vintage tuners basically. It doesn't look like you can do much to them at all. No, there's nothing that looks like it can be tightened or anything. There is an Allen key slot in there. I don't know if that's, I've never had to really use the tool bag that came with it, so yeah, I haven't actually plonked anything in there to see if that does anything or not. So yeah, I'm not too sure, but the Wilkinson bridge works well. The whammy bar's in the case there. just noodling now. Noodling more. How Slosh say about those pickups? Yeah, that wig, man. I had to ditch it when I moved. I was like, wherever it was starting to like just go everywhere. Might have to visit well, I can't right now, but once those kind of shops open again, might revisit some Will It Blues videos. You know what might be a fun one of those? Those organ simulator pedals. It's not really metal, but like that'd just be the exact opposite of being able to blues. Those C9s and the B9 pedals and all that from Electro Harmonics. That might be kind of fun. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that, mate. Says just joined. Very sweet sound. Love it. Thanks, mate. It's 1 o'clock in the morning here, so I'm noodling more incoherently now than I was before, but I was just trying to remember an old chord progression I learnt years ago. For that, it's probably me. It's got this great bridge that goes to like a G major or something like that in there. I'll have to revisit that. It'd be a good one for the videos. Sort of, you can twist the feel up enough that it'll still sound good, but it'll be slightly different. Is there any specific replacement tone pot or brand type that you use or recommend on American Strats? So go get Emerson Pro Pots. Emerson, they're really great. I got a bag full of them just in case. I'll type them in. Look, you can get CTS or Mojo tone ones, but yeah, the Emerson stuff's the best. I've pretty much, anytime I have to replace anything, I use those. I'm not sponsored by them or whatever. I bought a bag full of them. They're really good. So yeah. The Korg Miku. Did they say that? Had a bit of lag. Oh, you have a bit of lag, sorry. Yeah, no worries. It looks like the stream's been working all right. I think I've sorted out the audio sync delay issue that I was having. It seems like the unit that I've got to do this live streaming doesn't like USB for more than an hour, because you can hook it up two ways. You can hook your camera into this thing and then it goes into the computer directly via USB, or you can run it into basically like a HDMI box that does the transcoding, and that works way better. So I've got that sorted out. Looks like the stream should hopefully be okay sync wise. All right. Yeah, it's time to go to bed. It's 1 o'clock. I'm gonna get up and do a few things in the morning, post a few things off, and then shoot a couple of videos out in the park away from everybody. And then probably edit some videos. That'll be my day tomorrow. But yeah, guys, we're talking about Riding with the King. You want a fun album to have a listen to? Riding with the King, Eric Clapton, B.B. King. Have a listen to that if you haven't already got it or heard it. It's definitely a bit of fun. If you want to hear all my licks, they're all in that album. A lot of them are anyway. They're just played way better than how I butchered them. Oh yeah, I know that. Sorry, Wes. I get you, man. Yeah, no problems at all. I I was going to ask you to play a lick I could learn, but then I realized this video's full of them. Well, yeah, you just want to take out all the 80% of the, or 90% of the crap ones, and here's a good one for you. If you want a classic slow blues lick that works over 6/8, so though, you know, like that kind of feel, just every slow blues basically. This is a good thing I got off. I think I originally heard it on a Van Morrison album, but then I got it off an Albert King album later. So it's a really cool lick, just with basically, you know, you got your pattern 1, then you get up to pattern 2 here. So those notes. That's all it is. You get a few people doing the harmonies to that sort of stuff. It can sound pretty cool. So yeah, that's one of those old school. You can play it with a lot more attitude than that too. I'm just playing it sort of low key right now, but. So yeah, you can sort of dig into it as well, but it can also be played really subtle if the song's, you know, really quiet, or there's a sort of like you know, like a stop. It kind of works as well. Anyway, that'll do. I can barely talk. All right, guys, take care. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good day if you're overseas, and we'll no doubt be doing a few more live streams coming up over the next 6 weeks, just in the moment ones. Like I said, they'll go unlisted afterwards if you want to go back and watch anything, but yeah, they don't stay public because, you know, if you're not there, it's no fun basically. But I know there's a few people that still like to watch them, so chuck the notifications on if you want to catch me on another live show coming up, and I'll catch you soon. I'm wrecked. I'm going to bed. All right, folks, take care. Thank you for all the support too. I appreciate it. We all the super chats, all that kind of stuff. It's super cool of everybody for the support. Thank you so much. And we will catch you on the next one. Catch you soon. Hey, one of my friends just arrived very late, so thank you. I'll shoot you an Instagram message. All right, take care, guys and gals.